Have you ever dreamed of someone who has passed away and awakened feeling that they truly came to see you? Perhaps they smiled, embraced you, spoke one unforgettable sentence, or remained completely silent while your heart understood something your mind could not explain. Welcome to the Soul's Midnight Visit, a full Vedic-inspired audiobook exploring what it may mean when a departed loved one appears in your dreams. Throughout this audiobook, we will uncover why these dreams can feel more real than ordinary dreams, why some departed souls speak while others remain silent, what repeated visits may represent, and whether the dream carries comfort, forgiveness, warning, or one final message. Stay until the final chapter, because the deepest mystery may not be why the departed appeared. It may be why your soul was ready to meet them at that exact moment. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Why the departed appear when the mind becomes silent. The most mysterious dreams do not always begin with darkness. Sometimes they begin with a familiar doorway, an old room, a forgotten road, or the sound of a voice you believed you would never hear again. Then, without warning, the person you lost is standing before you as clearly as they once stood in life. Their face has not faded, their presence does not feel imaginary, and for a few extraordinary moments, death itself seems unable to keep them away. You may awaken suddenly with tears in your eyes and their voice still echoing inside your heart. The room is empty, yet the feeling of their presence remains so powerful that you hesitate to move. Ordinary dreams usually dissolve within minutes, but this one follows you into the morning. You remember the expression on their face, the warmth of their embrace, or the silence between you. Something inside you keeps asking the same question. Why did they appear now, after weeks, months, or perhaps many years of silence? Vedic-inspired wisdom invites us to begin with the nature of the mind itself. During the day, consciousness is surrounded by noise, responsibilities demand attention, conversations fill the memory, worries pull the mind toward the future, and unfinished duties keep the senses connected to the physical world. Even grief can become hidden beneath routine because life rarely gives us enough stillness to feel everything we have lost. We continue working, speaking, smiling, and completing our obligations, while somewhere beneath the surface, love and sorrow remain unfinished. But when sleep arrives, the outer world becomes quiet. The eyes stop searching, the ears stop following every sound, and the body rests from its constant participation in physical life. The conscious mind loosens its control, allowing deeper impressions to rise. Vedic philosophy often speaks of samskaras, the subtle impressions created by powerful experiences, repeated thoughts, relationships, desires, and emotions. A person deeply loved can leave impressions far stronger than ordinary memory, and those impressions may remain active long after their physical presence has ended. This is why the departed may appear when the waking mind becomes silent. The relationship did not exist only in photographs or conversations. It became woven into your habits, emotional responses, sense of safety, and understanding of yourself. A mother's voice may still live inside the way you comfort yourself. A father's guidance may still influence difficult decisions. A spouse may remain present in the routines you once shared. A friend's laughter may return whenever you visit a place connected to the past. The body is gone, but the relationship continues moving within consciousness. Sometimes such a dream arrives soon after death because the mind is struggling to accept what has happened. The funeral may be over, the visitors may have left, and the house may have become painfully quiet, but the heart has not yet understood the permanence of the absence. During sleep, the person appears exactly as they were before illness, age, or suffering changed them. They may look healthy, peaceful, and free from pain. The dream allows the mind to encounter them not as a body that died, but as the person love remembers. This can become an important part of grief. The dream may not be asking you to solve a supernatural mystery. It may be helping your heart move from the final painful image of death toward a gentler memory of life. When someone dies after illness, the mind can become trapped in hospital rooms, final breaths, unanswered calls, or the helplessness of watching the body weaken. A peaceful dream may restore the person's fuller image. It reminds you that their entire existence was greater than the moment in which they died. Yet some dreams do not arrive immediately. They appear after years of silence, often at a moment when life is changing. You may be preparing for marriage, becoming a parent, leaving a familiar home, facing illness, beginning a new path, or making a decision you once would have discussed with the departed. Suddenly, they appear in your dream as though a hidden part of you has called them forward. Their appearance may reflect the wisdom, protection, or emotional strength you associate with them. The mind reaches for their face because something within you needs the qualities they represented. Perhaps your mother appears when you need tenderness. Perhaps your father appears when you must find courage. Perhaps a departed teacher appears when you have forgotten your purpose. The dream may feel like a visit because, emotionally, their influence is still alive and guiding you. Vedic-inspired thought also leaves space for mystery. It does not require us to reduce every experience to either a supernatural event or a meaningless invention of the brain. Dreams can arise from memory, emotion, spiritual symbolism, deep intuition, and experiences that human language may not fully explain. Wisdom begins by holding the experience with reverence without pretending to possess certainty. The important question is not only, did the soul truly visit me? The more revealing question may be, what awakened inside me when they appeared? Did you feel peace? Did you feel fear? Did you feel forgiven? Did you remember something you had been avoiding? Did their presence give you strength to continue? Did the dream leave you with gratitude, or did it intensify guilt and attachment? The emotional quality of the dream often carries more meaning than its visible details. Two people may dream of the same departed relative, yet receive entirely different inner messages. One awakens comforted because the person appeared smiling. Another awakens disturbed because the person seemed distant. The images may come from the same memory, but the meaning is shaped by the unfinished emotions within each dreamer. This is why departed loved ones sometimes appear during periods of suppressed grief. A person may believe they have accepted the loss because they no longer cry publicly, yet the deeper mind may still carry sorrow that was never fully expressed. Society often rewards people for appearing strong too quickly. They are told to return to work, take responsibility, stop thinking about the past, and continue living. But grief does not disappear simply because others have stopped asking about it. When the mind becomes silent during sleep, hidden sorrow may finally find a face. The departed person appears because grief needs somewhere to go. The dream creates a meeting that waking life cannot provide. You may embrace them, speak the words you never had the opportunity to say, or simply sit beside them in the ordinary way you once did. For a few moments, the separation disappears, allowing the heart to release emotions it could not express while awake. Sometimes the dream arrives because an anniversary is approaching, even when you are not consciously thinking about it. The body and deeper mind often remember dates, seasons, scents, weather, and places connected to intense experiences. A certain month may carry the atmosphere of the loss. A familiar song may activate memories. The first rain of a season, the smell of a particular meal, or the return to an old home may awaken impressions buried beneath years of ordinary life. Then, during sleep, the face returns. This does not make the dream less meaningful. Memory itself is sacred because it reveals how deeply one life entered another. The mind does not bring back every person you have ever met with equal intensity. It returns to those whose presence changed the shape of your inner world. There are also dreams in which the departed appears at the exact moment you are carrying guilt. Perhaps you did not answer their final call. Perhaps your last conversation ended in anger. Perhaps you were not present when they died. Perhaps you believe you should have noticed an illness sooner, spoken more gently, visited more often, or expressed love more openly. During the day, these thoughts may be pushed away because they are too painful. At night, the mind places the person before you because the relationship is still seeking completion within your heart. If they smile or embrace you, the dream may represent the forgiveness you desperately need but cannot ask for in waking life. If they remain silent, their presence may reflect everything that still feels unresolved. If they turn away, the dream may reveal your fear that reconciliation is no longer possible. The departed figure becomes a mirror, reflecting not only who they were, but what your own consciousness continues carrying. The purpose of such a dream is not always to punish you with regret. It may be inviting you to transform guilt into wisdom. You cannot return to the past, but you can change the way you love those who are still alive. You can answer the call you would normally ignore, end the argument pride keeps protecting, visit the parent you assume will always be there, and speak affection before another relationship becomes a memory. In this way, the departed may appear in a dream not merely to remind you of death, but to awaken you to life. There are moments when the dream feels more peaceful than your waking world. The person may appear surrounded by light, seated in a beautiful place, or dressed in a way that suggests calmness and freedom. They may say very little, yet you awaken with the unmistakable feeling that they are no longer suffering. Whether this experience arises from the soul, the subconscious mind, or the healing intelligence within grief, its message may be the same. You are being invited to release the final painful image and remember them with peace. The dream does not erase the loss. It changes your relationship with it. Before the dream, you may have remembered only the hospital bed, the funeral, or the moment you received the news. After the dream, another image becomes available: their smile, their voice, their peaceful face, or the feeling of being close to them again. The memory of death no longer stands alone. It becomes surrounded by love. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that consciousness is deeper than the thoughts moving across its surface. During sleep, the boundaries that feel solid in waking life may become softer. Time changes, identities shift, and people separated by distance or death can appear together within one experience. This does not give us permission to make absolute claims about every dream, but it reminds us that human consciousness remains one of life's greatest mysteries. The dream of a departed loved one should therefore be approached neither with blind belief nor cold dismissal. Do not immediately assume that every detail predicts the future, and do not treat every emotion as a command. At the same time, do not insult your own heart by calling the experience meaningless simply because it cannot be scientifically proven as a spiritual visit. Receive the dream quietly. Notice what happened without adding fear. Remember what was spoken without changing the words. Observe how you felt during the dream and after waking. Then ask what the experience is inviting you to heal, understand, forgive, or continue. A meaningful dream usually directs the heart toward greater peace, compassion, responsibility, or acceptance. An interpretation that creates panic, obsession, or harmful action should be questioned carefully. Genuine spiritual wisdom does not imprison consciousness in terror. It helps the mind become clearer and the heart become lighter. Perhaps the departed appeared because you were finally silent enough to remember what their life had taught you. Perhaps the dream came because grief was ready to soften. Perhaps their face became the language through which your deeper consciousness delivered courage. Or perhaps the mystery is greater than any explanation we can confidently give. But one truth remains undeniable. The person's physical absence did not erase the place they hold within you. When the mind becomes silent, love speaks in the language it still remembers. Sometimes that language is a voice. Sometimes it is an embrace. Sometimes it is only a familiar face standing beneath the strange light of a dream. And sometimes the soul's midnight visit begins without a single word, yet leaves behind a message that the heart will carry for the rest of its life. Chapter 2. The difference between a memory dream and a soul visit. Not every dream of someone who has died carries the same meaning, and this is where the mystery becomes deeper. Because some dreams feel fragmented, confusing, and shaped by ordinary memory, while others arrive with such clarity that the dreamer awakens convinced that something more than imagination has taken place. Perhaps you have experienced this difference yourself. In one dream, the departed person may appear among unrelated scenes, changing locations, impossible events, and faces that do not belong together. Their appearance feels like one image among many, and within a few minutes of waking, most of the dream disappears. Yet in another dream, everything becomes unusually still. The person stands before you exactly as you remember them, or perhaps healthier and more peaceful than they were near the end of life. Their eyes meet yours with unmistakable recognition. The surroundings feel vivid, and even if only one sentence is spoken, you remember it long after the dream has ended. The first may feel like memory rearranging itself during sleep. The second may feel like a meeting. But how can you recognize the difference without being controlled by fear, wishful thinking, or the desperate need to believe that someone has returned? Vedic-inspired wisdom encourages neither blind acceptance nor cold dismissal. It asks the seeker to become observant, because the deeper meaning of a dream is rarely found in one dramatic symbol. It is found in the entire quality of the experience, the emotions it awakens, the clarity it leaves behind, and the transformation that follows after waking. An ordinary memory dream often carries the restless movement of the mind. Places change without explanation, conversations break apart, and the departed may behave in ways that do not resemble who they were in life. One moment you may be speaking to them inside your childhood home, and the next you are standing in a strange city, surrounded by people you do not recognize. Their face may shift, their voice may be unclear, and the dream may mix grief with daily concerns, old fears, recent conversations, and images from films or photographs. This does not make the dream meaningless. Even a confused dream can reveal what the heart is carrying. The mind may be processing sorrow, guilt, loneliness, or the difficulty of accepting that the relationship can no longer continue in physical form. The dream may show the departed not because their soul has necessarily come with a message, but because your consciousness still uses their face to represent safety, loss, love, authority, regret, or protection. A person who lost a mother may dream of her whenever life becomes uncertain, because the mother's presence once meant comfort. Someone who lost a father may see him during a major decision because his guidance still lives within memory. A departed spouse may appear when loneliness becomes intense, not necessarily because the dream predicts anything, but because the mind reaches toward the person who once made the world feel less empty. Memory is powerful enough to create experiences that feel emotionally real. The sound of a voice can remain stored for decades. The feeling of an embrace can return through imagination. A familiar scent, song, room, date, or season can awaken memories the conscious mind did not know it was carrying. When sleep removes the ordinary boundaries of time and logic, those impressions can form a dream so vivid that the past seems present again. Yet some dreams possess a different quality. They do not feel crowded by random images. They feel simple. The departed person may appear alone, sometimes in a quiet room, a garden, a familiar home, beside a river, or within a peaceful light. There may be no dramatic event and no complicated story. The power of the dream comes from presence itself. You feel completely aware that the person has died, and yet you also feel completely aware that they are standing before you. This awareness is important. In many ordinary dreams, the dreamer forgets that the person is dead. Everything continues as though death never happened. But in dreams that feel like meaningful encounters, the dreamer may recognize the impossibility of the meeting while it is occurring. You may think, "How are you here?" Or, "I know you are gone." And the departed may respond with a smile, an embrace, or a message that feels direct and complete. Sometimes they say, "I am all right." Sometimes they say, "Do not worry about me." Sometimes they ask you to forgive yourself. Sometimes they say nothing at all, yet their expression brings a peace that no sentence could carry. One quality frequently remembered after such dreams is extraordinary clarity. The dream may contain details that remain sharp long after waking: the texture of clothing, the expression in the eyes, the exact tone of the voice, the warmth of a hand, or the atmosphere surrounding the meeting. Ordinary dreams often fade like mist, but this experience remains almost like a memory from waking life. Still, clarity alone is not proof of a literal spiritual visit. Human beings can have extremely vivid dreams for many reasons. Grief, stress, medication, disrupted sleep, emotional intensity, and strong memory can all influence dream vividness. Wisdom requires humility. It is possible to honor the sacred feeling of the experience without claiming certainty about what happened beyond physical perception. The most revealing sign may not be what you saw, but what remained inside you afterward. A dream created mainly by anxiety may leave confusion, fear, restlessness, or an urgent desire to interpret every detail. You may awaken searching for hidden danger in colors, numbers, gestures, and ordinary events. The dream begins controlling your thoughts, and instead of creating understanding, it produces obsession. A deeply healing dream usually carries a different after effect. Even when you awaken crying, the tears feel softer. There may be sorrow because you have lost the person again upon waking, but beneath the sorrow exists an unusual peace. The dream does not demand that you chase another encounter. It gives you enough comfort to continue living. This distinction matters because genuine spiritual growth should make the heart clearer, not more imprisoned. An interpretation that causes panic, helplessness, or dangerous behavior should not be accepted merely because the dream felt intense. No dream should become the only foundation for a major medical, financial, legal, or life-changing decision. The wisdom of the dream must be considered alongside reason, reality, and responsible guidance. Suppose a departed loved one appears and warns you about something. The message may reflect intuition, concern, or an unresolved fear already present within your deeper mind. Rather than immediately treating it as a supernatural prediction, ask what the warning represents. Is there a real situation you have been ignoring? Are you moving toward a decision that conflicts with the values the person taught you? Is your own conscience using their trusted voice because you would listen to them more carefully than you listen to yourself? Sometimes the departed person becomes the form through which inner wisdom speaks. This does not reduce the importance of the dream. In fact, it may reveal how deeply that person's guidance became part of your consciousness. Their physical voice may be gone, but the lessons they gave you still know how to speak. Another quality of a spiritually meaningful dream is that the departed often appears free from the suffering that surrounded their death. Someone who died after illness may appear healthy. Someone who died in old age may appear younger. Someone whose final days were filled with pain may stand peacefully, without fear or weakness. For the grieving heart, this image can be profoundly healing because death often leaves behind one final painful picture. The family remembers the hospital room, the weakened body, the final breath, or the moment they received the news. That image can become so powerful that it covers years of beautiful memories. Then the dream changes the image. The person returns not as they were during their final suffering, but as love remembers them. The dream seems to say that one painful ending should not become the definition of an entire life. Whether this image comes from the soul, memory, or the healing intelligence of the mind, it performs a sacred work. It allows the dreamer to remember the person as more than the body that died. Some dreams feel meaningful because they contain a message the dreamer was not consciously expecting. The words may be simple, yet perfectly connected to an emotional struggle. The departed may tell you to stop blaming yourself, reconcile with someone, care for the family, or continue a path you were preparing to abandon. You may awaken surprised because the message challenges you rather than merely giving you what you wanted to hear. Yet even here, discernment is necessary. The human mind can create voices and images from deeply stored memories. A message should be judged by its quality. Does it encourage compassion, responsibility, forgiveness, courage, and greater clarity? Or does it demand fear, revenge, isolation, or harmful action? Wisdom does not reveal itself through cruelty. A dream that commands you to hurt yourself or another person should never be treated as sacred guidance. A frightening dream may reflect trauma, grief, anxiety, or emotional distress, and speaking with a trusted mental health professional can be an important act of care. Spiritual reflection and psychological understanding do not need to oppose one another. Both can help the dreamer move toward healing. The Vedic understanding of samskaras helps explain why certain dreams repeat. Powerful relationships leave deep impressions, and those impressions may surface whenever similar emotions are awakened. A departed father who represented protection may appear each time the dreamer feels unsafe. A mother associated with acceptance may return whenever the dreamer feels rejected. A sibling connected to childhood freedom may appear when adult responsibilities become overwhelming. The repeated dream may therefore be asking, what quality did this person awaken within you that you now need to awaken within yourself? Perhaps you keep waiting for the departed to return and rescue you, while the deeper purpose of the dream is to help you carry forward the strength they once gave you. Perhaps the dream is not saying, remain dependent upon my presence. Perhaps it is saying, become what I taught you to become. This is one of the most beautiful ways to understand a soul visit. The departed may appear not to pull you away from life, but to return you to it with greater courage. There are also dreams in which the person seems distant, refuses to speak, or walks away. These experiences can be painful because the dreamer may believe the departed is angry or rejecting them. Yet the dream may reflect the dreamer's own fear of abandonment, unresolved guilt, or difficulty accepting separation. Silence does not automatically mean punishment, and walking away does not necessarily mean love has ended. Sometimes the dream is showing the truth the heart has resisted. The physical relationship cannot return in its former form. The person walks away because the dreamer must learn to release. They stand at a distance because grief has created a space that cannot be crossed through longing alone. They remain silent because no words can complete what must now be completed through acceptance. The dream may feel painful, but its purpose may be liberation. A truly meaningful encounter does not always give the dreamer what they desire. Sometimes it gives what they need. You may desire another embrace, but the person only smiles and turns away. You may desire a long conversation, but they speak one sentence. You may desire proof that they are still near, but the dream encourages you to stop searching for signs. You may desire to remain with them, but they send you back toward the people who are still alive. This is why the meaning of a dream cannot be measured only by comfort. Some dreams heal through peace, while others heal by revealing what must finally be accepted. One of the strongest signs of a meaningful dream is inner transformation. After the dream, you may find yourself ready to forgive. You may visit someone you had been avoiding. You may stop blaming yourself for the death. You may return to prayer, service, family, or a purpose the departed person valued. You may feel more grateful for life because the dream reminded you that every relationship is temporary. The dream becomes important not because it offers proof about the afterlife, but because it changes how you live in this life. This is the test the listener must remember. Does the dream make you more loving? Does it make you more present? Does it inspire you to heal unfinished relationships? Does it help you carry memory without becoming imprisoned by it? Does it turn grief into compassion? When the answer is yes, the dream has already delivered something sacred, regardless of whether its source can ever be fully explained. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that truth should be approached through discernment, humility, and inner observation. Do not force every dream into the category of a soul visit merely because you long to see the departed again. Longing can shape dreams powerfully. At the same time, do not reject an experience that brought genuine peace simply because it cannot be measured by physical instruments. Some mysteries are not meant to be conquered by certainty. They are meant to soften the heart. You may never know whether the person truly crossed a hidden boundary to reach you, whether your consciousness entered a deeper level where their impression remained alive, or whether grief created the exact meeting required for healing. But perhaps the value of the experience does not depend upon choosing only one explanation. The love was real, the loss was real, the dream was experienced, and the peace it brought may also be real. When you awaken from such a dream, do not immediately run toward interpretation. Remain still for a moment. Remember the expression on the person's face, the atmosphere surrounding them, the exact words spoken, and the emotion present in your own heart. Write the dream down before daily life changes its details, then allow time to reveal its meaning. Some dreams become clear immediately. Others reveal their purpose weeks later, when a decision, conversation, or memory connects with what you experienced. The mind often demands instant answers, but spiritual understanding sometimes unfolds slowly. Perhaps the departed appeared only because memory needed to breathe. Perhaps they appeared because grief was ready to become softer. Perhaps their face carried the wisdom you needed at a difficult moment. Perhaps the dream was an experience consciousness does not yet have the language to explain. You do not need to make a dramatic claim in order to honor it. You can simply say, "I saw someone I loved, and the encounter changed something inside me." That may be enough, because the deepest sign of a soul's midnight visit is not always the vivid face, the familiar voice, or the feeling of being touched. Sometimes the deepest sign is the peace that remains after the dream is gone. The room is still empty, the morning has arrived. The person has disappeared once again, yet your heart no longer feels exactly as it did before. And perhaps that change is the message. Chapter 3. Why some departed souls speak while others remain silent. One of the most unforgettable moments in a dream of the departed is the instant you realize they are standing before you, close enough to see, yet you do not know whether they will speak. Your heart may be filled with questions you have carried since their death. You may want to ask where they have been, whether they are peaceful, whether they can still see you, or whether they know how deeply they are missed. Yet while you wait for an answer, they may only smile, look into your eyes, touch your hand, or remain completely silent. You awaken wondering why they came, if they had nothing to say. But what if their silence was not an absence of communication? What if silence was the message? Vedic-inspired wisdom reminds us that language belongs largely to the physical world. Human beings depend upon words because the senses cannot always understand what another heart is carrying. We explain, question, promise, defend, apologize, and comfort through speech. Yet consciousness can sometimes communicate through feeling, image, recognition, and presence more deeply than through any sentence. This is why some dreams of departed loved ones contain clear words, while others contain only an encounter. The meaning may not be found in what the person said, but in what entered your heart while they stood before you. Perhaps your mother appeared and said nothing, yet you felt the same safety you experienced as a child when she held you. Perhaps your father looked at you with quiet approval, and for the first time since his death, you no longer questioned whether he was proud of you. Perhaps a departed spouse embraced you, and within that embrace you understood that the love between you had not been erased by physical separation. No explanation was necessary because the feeling completed the conversation. Some people awaken disappointed because they were waiting for a dramatic message. They wanted secret knowledge, a prediction, or undeniable proof that the departed continues to exist. Yet the dream may have arrived for a much gentler reason. The heart may simply have needed to experience the person without the pain of their final illness, without the memory of the funeral, and without the unbearable awareness that their body is gone. A silent appearance can replace the image of death with the memory of presence. This is especially powerful when the final moments of a person's life were difficult. When someone dies through illness, accident, or unexpected tragedy, the mind can become trapped around the ending. The family may remember the suffering more clearly than the years that came before it. They may repeatedly see the hospital room, the final expression, or the body that no longer responded. Then the departed appears in a dream looking healthy, calm and complete. They do not speak because perhaps nothing needs to be explained. Their peaceful appearance seems to say that the suffering you witnessed was not the whole of who they were. The body experienced pain, but the person you loved cannot be reduced to their most painful hour. The silence becomes reassurance. There are other dreams in which the departed speaks with unusual clarity. They may deliver only one sentence, yet that sentence remains in the dreamer's memory for years. They may say that they are peaceful, ask the dreamer to stop crying, encourage reconciliation within the family, or offer guidance connected to a difficult decision. Why do some dreams contain words? The answer may lie in the needs of the dreamer. The deeper mind often creates experiences through the language most capable of reaching the heart. When a person needs emotional reassurance, a silent embrace may be enough. When someone carries guilt, the dream may include words of forgiveness. When the dreamer feels lost, the departed may speak with the familiar voice of guidance they once provided during life. The words often reflect the deepest quality associated with that person. A wise grandfather may appear with advice. A protective mother may speak words of comfort. A teacher may offer direction. A sibling may return with humor that suddenly breaks the heaviness of grief. Their remembered personality becomes the vessel through which the message arrives. Vedic philosophy teaches that every powerful relationship leaves subtle impressions within consciousness. These impressions are not only memories of faces and events, they also include the emotional qualities connected to the relationship. The way someone spoke to you, the wisdom they repeated, the values they lived by, and the feeling their presence created may become part of your own inner world. Long after their physical voice disappears, their influence can still answer you. Imagine a person standing before a difficult choice and quietly thinking, "What would my father tell me to do?" That night, the father appears in a dream and gives advice. It may feel like a direct visit, but it may also be the wisdom of the father already living within the dreamer's consciousness. These explanations do not have to destroy the mystery. Whether the message arises from spiritual contact, stored impressions, intuition, or a combination of experiences that cannot be separated, the important question remains: what kind of consciousness does the message create? Does it awaken courage? Does it encourage forgiveness? Does it help you accept reality? Does it move you toward compassion and responsibility? A message that produces greater clarity deserves reflection. A message that creates terror, obsession, hatred, or harmful behavior should be approached cautiously, regardless of how vivid the dream felt. The departed person's silence can also represent unfinished words within the dreamer. You may have wanted to apologize, but death arrived first. You may have longed to hear forgiveness, but the opportunity disappeared. In the dream, the person appears and says nothing because your own heart still does not know how the relationship should end. Their silence becomes a mirror. If you awaken believing they were angry, ask whether you are carrying anger toward yourself. If you feel that they were disappointed, ask whether guilt has shaped your interpretation. If they appeared distant, ask whether you still fear that death was a form of abandonment. The dream figure may not be condemning you. Your own unresolved emotions may be placing judgment into their silence. This is why it is dangerous to interpret every silent dream negatively. The mind often fills uncertainty with the fear it already carries. A person who believes they failed a dying parent may see the parent's silence as punishment. Another person may experience the same silence as peace. The image is similar, but the inner meaning is different because each dreamer carries a different wound. Before deciding that the departed was angry, remember the emotional atmosphere surrounding the dream. Did their eyes appear harsh, or were they gentle? Did the silence feel cold or deeply calm? Were you frightened by their presence, or frightened because you desperately wanted them to speak? Sometimes the pain is not caused by the departed figure. It is caused by waking up before the conversation was completed. You may reach toward them, but the dream ends. You may begin asking a question, but their image fades. You may hear the first words of a message, then suddenly awaken. This can leave a powerful feeling of incompletion, as though the doorway closed one moment too soon. Yet the unfinished dream may carry its own lesson. During life, human beings often believe every question must receive a clear answer. We struggle with uncertainty and demand explanations for death, suffering, separation, and timing. But some experiences do not arrive to eliminate mystery. They teach us how to live peacefully without controlling everything we cannot understand. The dream may not have ended too soon. It may have given exactly what the heart was prepared to receive. Sometimes one look is enough. Sometimes one word is enough. Sometimes the fact that they appeared at all becomes the message. There are also dreams in which the departed speaks continuously, yet the dreamer cannot remember the words after waking. They remember that a conversation occurred, and they may even remember feeling comforted, but the sentences disappear. This can be frustrating because the waking mind wants to recover every detail, yet the emotional meaning may remain even when the language is lost. You may not remember what was said, but you remember that you felt forgiven. You remember that the person seemed peaceful. You remember that fear disappeared while they were near. The mind may forget the words, while the heart retains their effect. This reveals something important about dream communication. Words are not always the deepest part of the experience. The emotion created by the encounter may be the true message, while the conversation simply became the form through which that emotion entered consciousness. Consider how memory works in ordinary life. You may forget the exact advice a loved one gave years ago, yet you remember how safe you felt speaking to them. You may forget the words exchanged during an embrace, yet you remember that the embrace gave you strength. In the same way, a dream may leave behind an emotional truth after every sentence disappears. Some departed figures speak through symbols instead of direct language. They may hand you a flower, open a door, point toward a road, sit beneath a tree, offer water, or lead you toward a place filled with light. Such images can carry meaning, but they should not be interpreted through rigid universal rules. A river may symbolize release for one dreamer and fear for another. A house may represent family, memory, safety, or a life chapter that has ended. The meaning depends upon your relationship with the image. Suppose a departed mother gives you food in a dream. For someone whose mother expressed love through cooking, this may symbolize continued emotional nourishment. If a father hands over a key, it may represent responsibility, permission, or trust, especially if the dreamer is facing a new stage of life. The symbol becomes meaningful because it is connected to the relationship, not because every dream dictionary assigns it the same definition. This is why listeners should be careful about searching endlessly for fixed interpretations. The dream came through your consciousness, your memories, and your bond with the departed. Its language is often personal. The same object can carry different messages for different souls. Some dreams are silent because the relationship itself was silent during life. Perhaps the departed person found it difficult to express emotion. A father may have loved deeply but rarely said the words. A mother may have carried affection through service rather than speech. A spouse may have communicated through small acts instead of emotional declarations. When they appear silently in a dream, they may be arriving in the same emotional language through which they lived. Their presence says what their voice struggled to say. The dreamer may initially feel disappointed because they wanted the departed to become more expressive in death than they were in life. Yet the dream may be asking them to recognize the love that was always present beneath imperfect expression. Not everyone knows how to say, "I love you." Some people say it by waking early to work. Some say it by preparing food. Some say it by waiting until you return safely. Some say it by remembering what you need before you ask. The dream may revive these memories and help the listener understand that silence was not always emptiness. However, some silence does arise from emotional distance. A painful relationship may continue appearing unresolved because death ended the possibility of direct repair. A parent who caused deep wounds may appear without speaking. A former partner may stand far away. A relative may turn their face or remain unreachable. The dream can reopen old pain, but it can also reveal that healing no longer depends upon receiving an apology from the person who died. This is one of the hardest lessons the soul must learn. Sometimes the words you deserved will never be spoken. Sometimes the person who hurt you died without understanding the damage they caused. Sometimes reconciliation cannot occur through an external conversation, yet inner freedom remains possible. You can acknowledge the harm without denying it. You can release the need to carry hatred while still honoring your boundaries and truth. You can stop waiting for the departed to become the person they were unable to become during life. Their silence may force you to give yourself the compassion they never knew how to offer. Forgiveness does not mean calling cruelty acceptable, and it does not require you to imagine that every departed person has suddenly become spiritually perfect. It means refusing to allow an unfinished relationship to control the rest of your life. The dream may be asking you to complete the conversation within yourself. You may need to say, "What happened hurt me, but I will not carry it forever." You may need to say, "I release the expectation that you will finally understand." You may need to say, "Your choices shaped my past, but they will not own my future." Even when the departed remains silent, your own soul can finally speak. There are also dreams in which the person appears joyful, laughing, or behaving as they did during their happiest years. These dreams can bring extraordinary relief. The dreamer may awaken feeling that the person wanted to be remembered through life rather than through death. Their joy becomes a message without explanation. It says, "Do not let my final days erase every beautiful year." It says, "Remember the laughter." It says, "My life was larger than my ending." This can be especially healing for people whose grief has become centered on suffering. The dream restores balance by bringing forward the person's vitality, humor, tenderness, and individuality. Some departed loved ones appear crying or distressed, and these dreams can cause deep fear. Yet the listener should not immediately assume that the soul is suffering or asking for rescue. Such dreams may reflect the dreamer's grief, anxiety, guilt, or helplessness. The mind may place its own pain onto the face of the person it misses. Before creating a frightening interpretation, ask what was happening in your own life when the dream occurred. Were you under stress? Had you been feeling guilty? Had a conflict reminded you of the departed? Were you afraid of forgetting them? The dream may be expressing your emotional condition rather than revealing theirs. A balanced spiritual response might include quiet prayer, remembrance, charity, or an act of kindness performed in the person's honor. These actions allow grief to become compassion without turning the dream into a source of panic. The Vedic path repeatedly guides consciousness away from fear and toward right action. When uncertainty arises, perform something that creates light. Offer gratitude. Help someone. Forgive where possible. Care for the living. Let memory produce goodness. A dream should not make you helpless. It should deepen your awareness. Sometimes the departed speaks directly and asks the dreamer to stop searching for signs. This is an especially powerful theme because grief can become obsessive. A person may begin interpreting every bird, song, number, light, or coincidence as a message. The search may initially feel comforting, but over time it can prevent acceptance. The departed figure may appear to say, "I am at peace," or "Continue your life." Whether these words arise from the deeper mind or a mystery beyond it, their wisdom is clear. Love does not require constant proof. A relationship can remain meaningful even when no new signs appear. The absence of another dream does not mean the person has abandoned you. Some people dream of the departed only once. Others never experience such a dream at all. This does not measure the strength of love. Dreams depend upon memory, sleep patterns, emotional processing, and countless other factors. A person may love deeply and remember very few dreams. Do not compare your experience with another person's story. Someone else may receive vivid dreams while you experience connection through memories, values, prayer, or the quiet influence the departed left within your life. Love has many languages, and dreams are only one of them. The person who speaks in a dream may be delivering the sentence your heart needs. The person who remains silent may be giving a presence deeper than language. The person who walks away may be teaching release. The one who embraces you may be offering forgiveness. The one who smiles may be helping you remember peace. The meaning cannot always be forced into words. As you listen to this chapter, remember your own dream carefully. Do not focus only on what was said. Notice the space between the words. Notice the eyes, the distance, the atmosphere, and the feeling that remained when the dream ended. Ask yourself what the silence awakened. Did it make you feel loved? Did it reveal regret? Did it show you that you were still waiting for permission to heal? Did it remind you of a relationship that requires forgiveness? Did it invite you to stop looking backward? The most profound communication may occur before a single word is spoken. In ordinary life, two people who love one another deeply can sometimes sit together in silence and still feel completely understood. Their bond has grown beyond explanation. The same may be true within a dream. The departed appears not to deliver information, but to restore connection for one sacred moment. Then morning comes, the figure disappears, the room becomes quiet. You may remember every word, or perhaps no words were spoken at all. Yet something remains inside you, a softer grief, a clearer memory, a release of guilt, or the feeling that the person's presence was not lost completely when their voice became silent. Perhaps this is why some departed souls speak, while others do not. Some messages need language, others need only love, and sometimes the most unforgettable words from the soul's midnight visit are the words that were never spoken, because the heart had already understood them before the mind could ask. Chapter 4. When the dream carries unfinished love, regret, or forgiveness. Some dreams of the departed bring peace from the very first moment, but others open a door the heart has spent years trying to keep closed. The person appears, and instead of comfort, you feel the weight of everything that was never completed between you. Perhaps the final conversation ended in anger. Perhaps an apology was delayed because both sides believed there would always be more time. Perhaps love was deeply felt but rarely expressed. Perhaps the person died while you were far away, and ever since that day, one painful question has remained inside you. Did they know how much I loved them? Then, in the silence of sleep, they return. They may stand before you without anger, yet your own guilt makes it difficult to meet their eyes. They may reach toward you, but you feel unworthy of the embrace. They may speak gently, yet every word touches a wound you have hidden from the world. Sometimes they do not mention the past at all, but their presence brings every unfinished memory to the surface. These are not ordinary dreams of remembrance. They feel like emotional doorways. They bring you back to the moment when the relationship became incomplete, not to punish you, but perhaps because something within your consciousness is finally ready to face what waking life could not resolve. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that powerful emotions leave deep impressions upon the mind. Love leaves an impression, but so do guilt, resentment, shame, longing, betrayal, and words held back through pride. When a person dies, the physical relationship ends, but these inner impressions do not disappear automatically. The funeral may complete the outer farewell, yet the heart may remain standing inside a conversation that never reached its ending. This is why a departed loved one may appear in a dream years after their death. Time has passed on the calendar, but part of your consciousness may still be waiting beside the last argument, the final hospital visit, the unanswered call, or the doorway through which they left without knowing it was the last time. The dream returns you to that hidden place. Perhaps you once believed that unfinished love meant the relationship was destroyed, but love can remain unfinished even inside relationships filled with devotion. Human beings often assume that those closest to them already know what is inside the heart. A parent believes the child understands every sacrifice. A child assumes there will be time to say thank you later. A husband or wife expresses love through responsibility, but forgets to speak it openly. Friends move apart, still caring for one another, yet pride prevents either person from making the first call. Then death arrives before the heart becomes honest. The dream may become the place where honesty finally appears. You may see the departed and suddenly say everything you were unable to say while they were alive. You may tell them that you are sorry, that you were afraid, that your anger hid love, or that your silence was not rejection. You may explain why you stayed away, why you did not understand their pain, or why you could not become the person they needed at that time. In waking life, these words have nowhere physical to go, but inside the dream they are finally given a listener. This can bring intense emotion because the heart has been carrying those sentences without release. You may awaken crying, not because the dream was frightening, but because something locked inside you finally found a way to speak. The departed person may respond with forgiveness, or they may simply listen. Sometimes they embrace you, sometimes they smile, sometimes they disappear before giving any answer. The dreamer may then awaken feeling that the conversation remains incomplete. Yet perhaps the purpose of the dream was not to receive the exact response you desired. Perhaps it was to help you recognize what your own soul needed to confess. Forgiveness does not always begin when another person says, "I forgive you." Sometimes it begins when you stop hiding from the truth of what happened. The dream may show you that regret has remained powerful because you have been trying either to excuse your actions or punish yourself endlessly. Neither response creates healing. To excuse everything prevents growth. To condemn yourself forever prevents transformation. True remorse stands between these two extremes. It allows you to say, "I wish I had acted differently, and I will allow this pain to change the way I live now." This is one of the most sacred uses of regret. Regret can become poison when it only repeats the past, but it can become wisdom when it changes the future. You cannot return to the person who died, but you can become more present with those who remain. You can speak affection before another goodbye arrives. You can end conflicts that pride keeps alive. You can listen more carefully, apologize sooner, and stop assuming that tomorrow is guaranteed. The dream may therefore be carrying a message larger than one relationship. It may be asking you to live differently because of what could not be completed. Consider the person who missed a final phone call from a parent. Perhaps they were busy, tired, or emotionally distant, and they planned to call back later. Then news arrived that there would be no later. Years may pass, yet the unanswered call remains like a stone inside the heart. One night, the parent appears in a dream. They are not angry. They are sitting in a familiar room, speaking as though nothing terrible happened. The dreamer begins apologizing, but the parent smiles and changes the subject, or simply places a hand upon their shoulder. The dream may not erase the regret, but it can transform its meaning. Perhaps the parent's remembered love was always greater than one missed call. Perhaps the relationship contained thousands of moments, yet guilt reduced the entire bond to one mistake. The dream may be restoring the full story. Human grief often becomes trapped around the final event. The last argument seems larger than years of affection. The final absence appears more important than decades of presence. The mind repeatedly returns to what went wrong because it believes that suffering is a form of loyalty. But guilt is not always proof of love. Sometimes it is the mind's attempt to regain control over something that could never be controlled. If you believe the death could have been prevented by one different decision, you may continue punishing yourself because accepting helplessness feels even more painful. The dream may gently reveal that you were human. You did not know which call would be the last, which visit would never happen again, or which ordinary morning would become the final opportunity. You made choices with the understanding available to you at that moment. This does not mean every mistake should be dismissed. It means that a mistake should become a teacher, not a life sentence. There are also dreams in which the departed asks for forgiveness. Perhaps the person caused pain while alive and never acknowledged it. They may have been emotionally distant, controlling, neglectful, or cruel. Death arrived before responsibility was taken, leaving the survivor with wounds that society expects them to forget simply because the person is gone. Then the departed appears in a dream and says, "I am sorry." The experience can be powerful, but it can also create confusion. Part of you may long to accept the apology, while another part remains angry that the words came too late. You may awaken wondering whether the dream means you must forgive everything immediately. Forgiveness should never be forced. Vedic-inspired wisdom values release, but release does not require denial. You do not need to pretend that harm did not happen. You do not need to call cruelty love or erase your own pain to protect the memory of someone who died. Death does not automatically make every relationship beautiful, and spiritual growth does not require you to become dishonest about suffering. Forgiveness is not the same as approval. It is not the same as forgetting. It is not a declaration that the other person's behavior was acceptable. Forgiveness is the slow decision to stop allowing the wound to control every future chapter of your life. A dream apology may be meaningful because it gives the heart a symbolic experience of recognition. Perhaps the person never understood the pain they caused, but your own consciousness understands it now. The dream creates the acknowledgement that waking life denied you. Still, healing may take time. You may accept the message without feeling immediate peace. You may forgive one layer and discover another layer of anger later. This does not mean you failed. Emotional freedom is rarely created through one dramatic moment. It often unfolds through many quiet acts of truth. Sometimes the departed does not apologize. They appear exactly as they were, dismissing your pain, avoiding the subject, or repeating the same behavior that wounded you in life. These dreams can be disturbing because they make the relationship feel alive again. Yet such a dream may reveal that the old dynamic still exists within your consciousness. Perhaps you are still waiting for their approval. Perhaps you still hear their criticism inside your own thoughts. Perhaps their physical absence has not ended the emotional power they held over you. The dream may not be showing you their soul. It may be showing you the part of the relationship that you continue carrying. This is where the dream becomes an invitation to reclaim your inner freedom. You can speak within the dream, through prayer, through writing, or through quiet reflection. You can say what you could not safely say during life. You can name the harm. You can release the role you were forced to carry. You can decide that the person's voice will no longer become the voice through which you judge yourself. The departed may never give the apology you deserved, but you can stop waiting at the door of their understanding. Your peace does not have to remain dependent upon someone who is no longer able to change the past. There are dreams in which love itself becomes the unfinished wound. Two people may have cared deeply for one another, yet circumstances separated them. Family pressure, fear, distance, duty, misunderstanding, or timing prevented the relationship from becoming what both hearts imagined. Years later, one person dies and the other begins dreaming of them. These dreams can feel overwhelming because they awaken not only grief for the person, but grief for the life that never happened. The dream may show them together in a home they never shared, having conversations that never took place, or living a future that existed only as possibility. The dreamer awakens mourning two losses, the person and the unlived life. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that not every meaningful connection is meant to remain physically complete. Some relationships awaken love, but do not become lifelong partnerships. Some souls meet to transform one another, not to stay together forever. The depth of a connection does not guarantee a particular worldly outcome. This truth can be painful, yet it may also release the heart from endless questions. The relationship was not meaningless simply because it remained unfinished. It may have awakened tenderness, courage, creativity, spiritual longing, or self-understanding. Its purpose may have existed in what it changed within you, not only in what it became externally. The dream may arrive to honor the bond, but it should not prevent you from continuing your life. A departed person's appearance is not necessarily a request that you remain emotionally unavailable forever. Love can be remembered without turning memory into a prison. You can honor what the relationship meant while allowing your heart to experience new forms of connection. Healing does not erase the past. It allows the past to stop controlling the future. Sometimes a departed spouse appears when the surviving partner begins considering a new relationship. The dreamer may feel guilty, interpreting the dream as a warning or sign of disapproval. Yet the appearance may arise because the heart is struggling with loyalty, fear, and the idea that loving again would betray the person who died. Ask what the emotional atmosphere of the dream contained. Did the departed appear angry, or did your guilt make you expect anger? Did they offer peace, step aside, or simply appear because a major transition activated memory? The dream may not be saying, "Do not move forward." It may be revealing that moving forward feels frightening because part of your identity remains connected to the old relationship. No genuine love asks another person to stop living forever. The surviving heart must eventually learn that continuing does not mean replacing. No new person becomes the one who died, and no new relationship erases what came before. The heart does not always love by removing one memory to make room for another. It can carry gratitude for the past while entering the future honestly. Perhaps the departed appears because the relationship is changing form within you. What once existed as daily companionship now exists as memory, values, lessons, and love, without physical presence. The dream becomes a bridge between these forms. There are also dreams of departed children, and these can carry a pain beyond language. A parent may dream of holding the child, hearing laughter, or seeing them at an age they never reached in physical life. Such dreams can bring comfort and devastation at the same time, because waking feels like losing the child again. No simple explanation can carry the weight of this grief. The dream may allow a parent to experience closeness, but it should never be used to judge how they grieve. Some awaken comforted, others awaken shattered. Both responses are human. The parent may carry guilt even when nothing could have prevented the death. They may question every decision, search for signs they missed, or believe they failed in the most sacred responsibility of their life. A peaceful dream may offer an image of the child beyond suffering. It may allow the parent to remember innocence rather than illness, laughter rather than the final moment. Whether it comes from memory, grief, or a mystery beyond certainty, the experience may give the heart a brief place to rest. The most compassionate response is not to force an interpretation. It is to allow the dream to mean what brings truth and healing without turning it into a claim that creates fear. Some dreams of the departed involve anger. You may argue with the person, accuse them of leaving, or demand to know why they did not fight harder to remain alive. These dreams can create shame because the dreamer believes anger toward the dead is wrong. But grief often contains anger. You may be angry at the person, the illness, the doctors, destiny, yourself, or the universe. You may understand logically that the person did not choose to leave, yet emotionally you feel abandoned. The dream gives that anger a face. This does not make you cruel. It reveals that grief is more complex than sadness. Love can exist beside anger. Gratitude can exist beside disappointment. Forgiveness can exist beside the truth that the loss changed your life in painful ways. The dream may become a safe place for emotions that waking life does not permit you to express. During the day, you may feel obligated to speak respectfully about the departed, support the family, and appear spiritually accepting. At night, the hidden anger rises because the heart needs honesty before it can reach peace. Do not condemn yourself for the dream. Ask what the anger is protecting. Often anger protects helplessness. It is easier to say, "Why did you leave me?" than to say, "I do not know how to live without you." It is easier to blame than to admit how deeply the loss frightened you. When the deeper truth is recognized, anger can begin transforming into grief, and grief can slowly become acceptance. Dreams of forgiveness may also appear when the dreamer was the one who was hurt, yet still carries guilt for feeling angry after the person's death. Society sometimes treats the dead as though all painful history should immediately become sacred. Survivors are encouraged to remember only the good, even when the relationship involved real harm. But healing requires the whole truth. You are allowed to miss someone and still remember how they hurt you. You are allowed to love them and feel relieved that the conflict has ended. You are allowed to grieve the relationship you had and the relationship you deserved but never received. The dream may contain mixed emotions because the bond itself contained mixed experiences. Spiritual maturity does not require simple feelings. It requires honest awareness. The departed figure may become gentler over a series of dreams. At first, they may appear distant or frightening. Later, they may speak. Eventually, they may smile or walk away peacefully. This change may reflect your own healing process. The dream evolves because you are evolving. At first, grief may be filled with shock. Then guilt rises, then anger, then longing. Finally, perhaps, gratitude begins entering the same space. The departed person's changing appearance may symbolize the changing way your consciousness carries the relationship. This is why keeping a dream journal can be meaningful. Write what happened, how the person appeared, what was said, and what you felt upon waking. Do not attempt to solve everything immediately. Over time, you may notice that the dreams follow your emotional journey. Perhaps the person appears whenever you avoid grief. Perhaps they come during important transitions. Perhaps they stop appearing after forgiveness becomes possible. The end of the dreams does not mean the bond has vanished. It may mean the heart no longer needs the same form of healing. One of the most powerful dream experiences occurs when the departed says goodbye. They may tell you they must leave, walk toward a doorway, enter a vehicle, cross a bridge, or disappear into light. The dreamer often wakes with intense sadness because the dream feels like a second death. Yet this may be one of the most healing dreams of all. The first death happened physically, but perhaps the heart was not ready to accept it. The dream allows an emotional farewell that waking life could not provide. You see them leave, but this time you are present. You can speak, you can watch, you can release. The goodbye may not be the departed abandoning you. It may be your consciousness finally accepting that love must continue without physical return. This is where forgiveness becomes larger than apology. You forgive yourself for being human. You forgive the other person where forgiveness is possible. You forgive life for not following the future you imagined. You release the demand that every relationship receive a perfect ending. Not every story closes with every question answered. Some stories become complete through acceptance. The dream may end with the person turning away, but the love does not disappear. What disappears is the demand that love return in its former shape. The listener must understand that unfinished love is not always meant to be repaired through another dream. Do not become dependent upon sleep as the only place where connection feels possible. The purpose of healing is to bring the lesson back into waking life. Offer the words through prayer. Write a letter you do not need to send. Perform an act of kindness in the person's memory. Apologize to someone who is still alive. Forgive yourself through changed behavior. Allow the unfinished relationship to create something compassionate in the world. This is how pain becomes dharma rather than endless suffering. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that every experience can become part of spiritual awakening when consciousness transforms it. Regret can teach presence. Loss can teach impermanence. Betrayal can teach discernment. Forgiveness can teach freedom. Unfinished love can teach you not to postpone the truth of your heart. The dream is not asking you to live forever inside the past. It may be asking you to complete the past by changing the present. Perhaps the departed person appeared so that you would stop punishing yourself. Perhaps they appeared so that you would finally acknowledge what they did to you. Perhaps they appeared so that love could be remembered without the final argument covering every beautiful moment. Perhaps they appeared because the heart was ready to release a question that had no answer. When you awaken from such a dream, remain still. Do not immediately decide that the person has forgiven you, condemned you, or demanded something from you. Notice what your own consciousness is carrying. What did you wish to say? What were you afraid to hear? What emotion remains strongest after waking? What change would honor the relationship more than continued guilt? The answer may reveal the true message of the dream. Sometimes the deepest forgiveness is not received from the departed. It is created within the living heart when pain is finally allowed to become wisdom. The person may never return in another dream. The conversation may never become perfect. Yet you can still reach an ending that brings peace. You can say, "I loved you," even when I did not know how to show it. You can say, "I was hurt, but I will not let the wound become my identity." You can say, "I am sorry for what I failed to understand." You can say, "I release the future we never had." You can say, "I forgive myself for not knowing that our last moment was the last." Then the dream no longer remains only a midnight encounter. It becomes a doorway through which the heart returns to life. Perhaps that is why unfinished love appears in dreams, not because the departed wants you to remain trapped in yesterday, but because your soul is ready to turn regret into compassion, pain into understanding, and memory into a love that no longer needs another conversation in order to become complete. Chapter 5. Why the same departed person keeps returning in your dreams. A single dream of someone who has passed away can remain in the heart for years, but when the same departed person appears again and again, the experience begins to feel impossible to ignore. They may return every few nights, appear during the same season each year, or enter your dreams whenever you face fear, loneliness, illness, or an important decision. Sometimes the setting changes while their expression remains the same. Sometimes they repeat one sentence. Sometimes they stand at the same doorway, sit in the same room, or walk away before you can reach them. After each dream, you awaken with the same question: why do they keep returning? Is the departed soul trying to deliver a message you have not understood, or is your own consciousness repeatedly opening an unfinished chapter? Are they returning because they are unable to move forward, or because you are still searching for the part of yourself that disappeared when they died? Vedic-inspired wisdom encourages us to approach recurring dreams with both reverence and discernment. Repetition gives an experience emotional importance, but it does not automatically prove that a soul is trapped, suffering, or attempting to contact the living. Dreams can repeat because a powerful samskara remains active within the mind. A samskara is a deep inner impression formed through repeated experience, intense emotion, love, fear, loss, or attachment. When someone occupied a central place in your life, their presence may have shaped your habits, decisions, identity, and sense of security so deeply that the mind continues returning to them whenever similar emotions arise. The departed person may no longer exist physically beside you, yet the emotional world built around them may still be alive. Their voice may remain inside the way you judge yourself. Their encouragement may return whenever you feel uncertain. Their absence may be felt whenever the family gathers. The relationship continues within consciousness, and recurring dreams can become the stage upon which that continuing bond reveals itself. Imagine a woman whose mother always comforted her during difficult moments. After the mother's death, the woman dreams of her whenever life becomes overwhelming. In each dream, the mother sits in the same familiar kitchen, preparing tea and listening without interruption. She rarely gives advice. She simply remains present until the dream ends. The mother's repeated appearance may feel like a spiritual visit, but it may also reveal that the daughter associated her mother with safety so deeply that the mind returns to that image whenever protection is needed. The dream may not be asking the daughter to become dependent upon the dead. It may be helping her recover the calm, patience, and inner strength that the mother awakened within her during life. The recurring figure becomes a doorway to a quality the dreamer must now learn to carry alone. This is one of the most meaningful ways to understand repeated dreams of the departed. The person may return because a part of their wisdom has not yet been fully integrated into your life. You remember what they gave you, but perhaps you have not yet realized that what they gave now lives within you. A father who always offered courage may appear when his child is afraid to make a difficult decision. A grandmother associated with unconditional acceptance may return when the dreamer feels rejected. A departed spouse may appear whenever loneliness makes the world feel emotionally unsafe. A friend who inspired joy may return during a season when life has become heavy and serious. The dream may be asking a deeper question. What did this person represent that you now need to awaken within yourself? Perhaps you keep waiting for them to guide you, while the recurring dream is slowly revealing that their guidance has already become part of your consciousness. Perhaps you are not being asked to follow them into the past. Perhaps you are being invited to carry their best qualities into the future. The repetition may continue until this lesson is recognized. Some recurring dreams begin soon after death because the mind has not yet accepted the physical reality of separation. In one dream, the person may return home as though nothing happened. In another, you may discover that the reports of their death were somehow mistaken. You may experience tremendous relief, embrace them, and begin rebuilding the life you believed was lost. Then you awaken. For several seconds, the dream feels real. You may expect to hear their footsteps, see their belongings, or receive their call. Then memory returns, and grief enters the room for another morning. These dreams can be painful because waking becomes a second loss. Yet they are common during intense grief because the mind is struggling to unite two conflicting realities. One part of consciousness knows the person has died, while another part still expects them to return through the ordinary patterns of life. The body may be gone, but years of expectation do not disappear immediately. If someone called you every evening, the mind may continue waiting at that hour. If they slept beside you, part of the body may still expect their presence during the night. If they always returned home through the same door, the mind may imagine hearing the door open. The recurring dream gives temporary form to the expectation that reality can no longer satisfy. Over time, these dreams may change. At first, the departed person behaves as though they are still alive. Later, the dreamer becomes aware that they have died. Eventually, the person may speak about leaving, offer a final embrace, or walk toward a distant place. This progression can reflect the movement of grief itself. The earliest dreams may deny the loss, the later dreams may confront it. The final dreams may help the heart release what the mind has already understood. The changing dream is not necessarily evidence that the departed soul is moving through different realms. It may represent the dreamer's own consciousness moving from shock toward acceptance. Yet this does not make the experience spiritually empty. The inner journey of grief is itself sacred because it transforms attachment into gratitude and physical dependence into a deeper form of remembrance. Some people experience the exact same dream repeatedly. The setting, actions, and ending remain almost unchanged. The departed person may stand behind a closed door. They may board a train that the dreamer cannot enter. They may call from across a river. They may try to speak, but no sound is heard. The dream ends at the same moment every time. When a dream repeats without changing, it often suggests that an emotional conflict remains unresolved. The mind returns to the same image because the inner story has not yet found another ending. A closed door may represent the finality of separation, but it could also symbolize words that remain unspoken. A river may represent emotional distance, fear of release, or the boundary between one life chapter and another. A departing train may reflect the feeling that the person left before the dreamer was prepared. The important meaning is not found in a universal dream dictionary. It is found in the relationship between the symbol and your own life. Ask what the repeated scene makes you feel. Do you feel abandoned, guilty, frightened, comforted, or desperate to follow? What are you trying to do in the dream? Are you attempting to reach the person, stop them, rescue them, or make them understand something? Your actions may reveal the emotional work still waiting inside you. If you repeatedly try to prevent them from leaving, perhaps part of you has not accepted that love cannot restore the body. If you keep trying to apologize, guilt may remain active. If they repeatedly ask you to come with them, the dream may reflect loneliness or a desire to escape your present life rather than an actual invitation from the departed. This distinction is extremely important. A dream in which a departed person asks you to join them should never be treated as a command to harm yourself or abandon life. Such dreams can emerge during severe grief, depression, trauma, or emotional exhaustion. They may express the longing to be free from pain, not a spiritual instruction from the dead. When a dream makes you feel that you should die, disappear, or hurt yourself, seek immediate support from trusted people and qualified professionals. The sacred path always values the life and responsibilities still placed before you. No dream should be permitted to overrule your safety. A loving relationship with the departed should inspire you to live more consciously, not to destroy the life that remains. Recurring dreams can also appear around anniversaries, birthdays, festivals, family gatherings, and the season in which the death occurred. Even when the conscious mind is not counting the days, the body and deeper memory may recognize the return of a meaningful time. A particular smell may resemble the hospital corridor. A change in weather may match the week of the funeral. A family celebration may make the absence more visible. The dreamer may say, "I was not even thinking about them." Yet deeper consciousness often remembers through sensation before thought. The dream appears because the emotional season has returned. This may explain why someone dreams of a departed parent every year near a major festival. The festival once included their voice, food, rituals, laughter, and presence. When the season returns without them, the mind recreates the missing figure during sleep. The dream may not contain a secret warning. It may simply be love responding to absence. Yet even these seasonal dreams can carry healing. Each year, the person may appear differently. At first, the dream may be filled with sorrow. Later, the departed may join the celebration peacefully. Eventually, the dreamer may experience gratitude rather than devastation. The memory remains, but its emotional weight changes. This is one way grief becomes integrated into life. The loss does not vanish, but it no longer destroys every season connected to the person. The dream allows the heart to remember and continue at the same time. Some recurring dreams begin during major life transitions. A departed mother may appear before her daughter's wedding. A father may return before the birth of a grandchild he never met. A sibling may appear when the dreamer is preparing to move away from the family home. A deceased teacher may return when the dreamer is about to begin an important career or spiritual path. These dreams often feel like blessings because the departed appears at a moment when their physical absence is especially painful. The dreamer wishes they could witness the event, give advice, offer approval, or stand beside the family. The mind brings their presence into the transition because the relationship remains part of the dreamer's identity. A bride may dream that her departed father walks beside her. A new mother may dream that her own mother holds the baby. A person receiving an important achievement may dream of the teacher who first believed in them. Whether these experiences arise from memory, spiritual connection, or the mysterious depth of consciousness, they reveal that the departed continues to participate through influence. They may not be physically present, but their love helped shape the person now crossing the new threshold. The dream becomes a recognition that no important chapter is entered alone. The dead may not walk beside us in visible form, yet their lessons, sacrifices, and values continue walking through us. A recurring dream may therefore appear until the dreamer understands that the departed person has not been excluded from the new life. Their influence is already present within it. Sometimes the same person returns because the family carries unfinished conflict connected to their death. Perhaps relatives argued over property, funeral decisions, caregiving responsibilities, or old resentments. The departed may become the emotional center of a conflict that continues among the living. One family member dreams of them repeatedly and begins believing that the departed is demanding justice or choosing sides. This can intensify conflict if the dream is used as proof against others. Wisdom requires great caution here. A dream should not become a weapon. The departed figure may express the dreamer's own anger, disappointment, or desire for validation. Claiming that the dead has condemned another family member can deepen harm and create divisions that the person may never have wanted. Instead, ask what the dream reveals about your responsibility. Does it encourage fairness, compassion, reconciliation, or honest boundaries? Does it remind you of the values the departed lived by? Can the dream inspire a peaceful solution rather than another battle? The spiritual value of the experience lies in what it awakens within your conduct, not in using mystery to control other people. Some recurring dreams are comforting at first, but slowly become a source of dependence. The dreamer begins longing for sleep because it is the only place where the departed feels close. They may avoid waking relationships, responsibilities, and opportunities because the dream world appears more meaningful than life. This is a delicate stage of grief. The dream has become a refuge, but the refuge can become a prison. The purpose of a meaningful encounter should be to help you carry love into waking life. It should not require you to abandon the living in order to remain emotionally attached to the dead. Ask whether the recurring dreams are helping you heal or helping you avoid healing. Do you awaken with enough strength to engage with life, or do you spend the entire day wishing to return to sleep? Are you using the dream to remember love or to reject reality? The departed person's greatest influence should not be measured by how often they appear at night. It should be measured by the goodness their memory awakens during the day. Perhaps they taught kindness. Practice it. Perhaps they valued family. Rebuild it. Perhaps they encouraged education, courage, service, or prayer. Continue it. The most sacred way to preserve a departed person is not to remain frozen in the moment of their death. It is to allow what was best in them to continue living through you. When this begins, the dreams may change or become less frequent. Some people feel afraid when the recurring visits stop. They believe the person has moved farther away, forgotten them, or become unable to return. But the end of the dreams may be a sign of healing rather than abandonment. Perhaps the mind no longer needs to recreate the person every night because the relationship has found a stable place within consciousness. The love has moved from desperate longing into quiet presence. The departed no longer needs to appear as a figure because their influence has become part of the way you live. Silence after recurring dreams does not mean the bond has ended. It may mean the lesson has been received. Consider the parent who dreams repeatedly of a departed child. For months, the child appears at the same age, asking to be held. The parent awakens in unbearable grief. Over time, the dreams change. The child begins playing, smiling, and moving farther away. Eventually, the child waves and disappears into light. The parent may feel as though they have lost the child again, but the changing dream could represent a gradual shift from traumatic attachment toward peaceful remembrance. The parent is not forgetting. The heart is learning to hold love without reliving the death every night. This process cannot be rushed. No one should be told to release grief according to another person's timetable. Recurring dreams may continue for years, and their frequency does not indicate spiritual failure. Healing is not a straight path. A person may feel peaceful for months and then experience a powerful dream that reopens sorrow. A new event may awaken an old need for guidance, the birth of a child, the illness of another family member, or returning to a familiar place may bring the departed person back. The return does not mean all progress has been lost. It means the relationship has entered another emotional context. Each life stage may reveal a different layer of the bond. You may miss your departed mother differently when you become a parent than you did when you were young. You may understand your father's sacrifices only after carrying similar responsibilities. The person returns in a dream because your new experience has changed the meaning of the old relationship. The dream may offer understanding that was impossible before. A son who resented his father's strictness may later become responsible for a family and dream of him with unexpected compassion. A daughter who misunderstood her mother's fear may face similar challenges and finally recognize the love hidden beneath imperfect behavior. The dream becomes a meeting between who you were and who you have now become. This is why recurring dreams are not always repetitions of the same message. The figure may remain the same, but the dreamer is changing. Each appearance may reveal another truth about the relationship. At first, you may see only what you lost. Later, you may see what you received. Finally, you may see what you are meant to carry forward. Some people believe the departed keeps returning because the soul is unable to leave. This interpretation can create fear and responsibility. The dreamer begins believing that their grief has trapped the soul, or that they must perform a specific action to release it. Certain later Hindu traditions include rituals and prayers connected to remembrance of ancestors and the peaceful transition of the departed. But dream experiences vary widely and should not be treated as definitive proof of a soul's condition. A recurring dream may reflect the living person's emotional state rather than the departed soul's journey. You can respond compassionately without assuming something frightening. Offer a prayer according to your tradition. Perform charity or service in the person's memory. Remember them with gratitude. Resolve any ethical responsibility they left behind where possible. Then release the need to control what lies beyond human certainty. A peaceful action is better than fearful speculation. If the dream shows the departed asking for food, water, clothing, or help, the image may arise from cultural memory, concern, guilt, or a desire to care for someone you can no longer physically serve. Rather than panicking, transform the emotion into kindness. Feed someone in need, give water, support a family, or perform a compassionate act in their honor. This allows the dream to create goodness without forcing an absolute interpretation. The Vedic path repeatedly returns to Dharma, right action. When mystery cannot be solved, let it inspire something worthy. Recurring dreams may also reveal that the dreamer is afraid of forgetting. The person keeps appearing because part of the heart believes that healing will erase them. Every time life begins feeling normal, guilt rises. The dreamer may unconsciously recreate the departed so that memory remains intense. But remembrance does not need to remain painful in order to remain true. You do not honor someone by reopening the wound every night. You honor them by remembering their life in its fullness, including laughter, imperfection, wisdom, mistakes, and love. The person was more than the day they died. Your relationship was more than the grief that followed. A recurring dream may continue until you allow yourself to remember without suffering as proof of loyalty. This can be one of the hardest permissions to give yourself. You may need to say, "I can be happy and still love you." You may need to say, "I can build a future without replacing you." You may need to say, "My healing does not mean your life mattered less." When this truth enters the heart, the departed figure may appear differently. They may smile, they may bless you, they may walk away peacefully, or the dreams may simply stop. The absence of the dream can become another form of peace. Sometimes the same departed person returns with a warning. They may point toward danger, repeat a word, or appear before a difficult event. The dreamer may feel compelled to interpret every detail literally. Approach such dreams carefully. The dream may be drawing attention to something your waking mind already senses. Perhaps you are ignoring a health concern, entering an unhealthy relationship, or making a decision that conflicts with the wisdom the departed taught you. Their familiar face may become the form through which your intuition speaks. Rather than treating the dream as a prophecy, examine reality responsibly. Seek professional advice where needed. Consider the concern calmly. Ask whether the warning aligns with reason, ethics, and observable facts. A meaningful dream can encourage awareness, but it should not replace responsible judgment. The dead should not become an unquestionable authority through dreams. Your own fear, memory, and desires may influence what appears. Discernment protects both spirituality and sanity. There are also beautiful recurring dreams in which the departed performs the same act of blessing. A grandmother may place her hand upon the dreamer's head. A father may stand at the doorway and smile. A spouse may say, "You will be all right." The message may repeat because the dreamer has not yet believed it. Grief can make reassurance difficult to accept. The heart hears, "Continue," but guilt answers, "I cannot." The dream returns until the blessing becomes stronger than the fear. The departed figure may be giving you permission that you struggle to give yourself, permission to heal, permission to love again, permission to leave the family home, permission to succeed without them, permission to stop feeling responsible for what could not be prevented. The dream keeps returning because the inner door remains closed. When you finally accept the blessing, the dream may reach completion. Perhaps the person will appear one final time, not because they are disappearing forever, but because you are ready to carry their message without another visit. Imagine that final dream. The departed person stands before you with the same familiar face. You wait for them to repeat the words you have heard many times, but this time they remain silent. They look at you as though asking whether you now understand. You feel the sadness of separation, but beneath it is something new. Trust. You no longer reach desperately toward them. You no longer ask them to return. You no longer demand proof that love survived. You simply thank them. The dream ends, and when morning arrives, grief is still present, but it no longer feels like a locked room. It feels like a doorway through which memory and life can exist together. Perhaps this is the final purpose of the recurring dream. The departed person may not be returning because they are unable to leave. They may be returning because some part of you has not yet learned how to remain. Remain in life. Remain in love. Remain open to the future. Remain connected to the living without believing that doing so betrays the dead. The soul's midnight visit becomes complete when memory no longer requires suffering to prove its depth. The person can live within your values without appearing every night. Their voice can guide your choices without controlling your dreams. Their love can remain without preventing new love from entering. When the same departed person appears again, do not immediately ask how to make the dream stop or how to force it to return. Instead, ask what remains unfinished within you. What quality do they represent? What emotion appears every time they come? What life transition makes you long for their presence? What permission are you still waiting to receive? What lesson have you remembered but not yet lived? The answer may reveal why the dream repeats. Perhaps the person keeps returning because grief still needs compassion. Perhaps guilt still needs forgiveness. Perhaps fear still needs courage. Perhaps love still needs to change its form. Or perhaps consciousness is touching a mystery that no philosophy can fully explain. You do not need complete certainty in order to receive the wisdom of the experience. Let the dream make you more present, not more afraid. Let it deepen gratitude, not obsession. Let it guide you toward life, not away from it. Because the departed person's most meaningful return may not happen in sleep at all. It may happen when you speak with their kindness, choose with their wisdom, serve with their generosity, and love others with the tenderness their life awakened within you. Then their presence is no longer limited to midnight. It has entered the way you live. And perhaps the recurring dream will finally become quiet when your soul understands that the person does not need to keep returning because the best part of what they gave you never truly left. Chapter 6. When the departed brings a warning, blessing, or final message, some dreams of the departed feel like memories returning, while others arrive with such purpose and precision that the dreamer awakens believing the encounter was meant to change something. The departed person may appear unexpectedly, look directly into your eyes, and speak one sentence that remains clearer than the rest of the dream. They may warn you not to follow a particular path, place a protective hand upon your head, give you an object, point toward a doorway, ask you to care for someone, or simply tell you that they are peaceful and that you must stop worrying about them. These dreams can feel different because they do not wander through confusing scenes. They seem to move toward one central moment, and when that moment arrives, everything becomes still. The voice sounds familiar, the message feels direct, and the dream ends soon after it has been delivered. Even years later, the dreamer may remember the exact expression on the departed person's face and the powerful feeling that followed their words. Yet the moment a dream appears to contain a warning or message, another responsibility begins. The dreamer must learn to honor the experience without surrendering reason, because a meaningful dream can awaken intuition, but fear can also turn ordinary symbols into dangerous predictions. Vedic-inspired wisdom does not encourage blind belief. It teaches discernment, self-observation, ethical action, and humility before mysteries that cannot be completely proven. A departed person may appear in a dream and say, "Do not go there, be careful," or "This path is not right for you." The dreamer may awaken frightened and begin wondering whether disaster is approaching. Every event during the following day may then appear connected to the warning. A delayed journey, an unfamiliar sound, or a difficult conversation may be interpreted as proof that something terrible is about to happen. But before allowing fear to control your decisions, ask what your waking consciousness already knows. Are you entering a situation that has been troubling you for some time? Have you ignored warning signs in a relationship, business decision, health concern, or family conflict? Does the path you are considering go against the values the departed person taught you? Is there information your conscious mind has refused to acknowledge because accepting it would require a difficult choice? The dream may not be predicting an external event. It may be giving a familiar face to an inner warning you have already been feeling. Suppose a man is preparing to enter a business arrangement that promises quick wealth, yet something about the people involved makes him uncomfortable. During the day, he pushes the concern aside because the opportunity appears too valuable to lose. That night, his departed father appears and says, "Do not trust what looks too easy." The dream may feel like a direct message from the father, but it may also reflect the father's teachings about honesty, patience, and caution already living within the son's consciousness. The mind uses the voice the son respected most because that voice has the greatest chance of reaching him. Whether the warning comes through spiritual contact or inner wisdom, its value should be tested responsibly. The dreamer can investigate the situation, review the facts, seek trustworthy advice, and avoid impulsive action. The dream should encourage careful awareness, not helpless panic. This principle must remain clear throughout the chapter. A dream can inspire reflection, but it should never become the sole foundation for serious medical, legal, financial, or life-changing decisions. If a departed loved one appears and warns you about your health, do not assume the dream has diagnosed an illness. Instead, consider whether you have been ignoring symptoms and seek proper medical evaluation. If the dream warns about another person, do not accuse or condemn them without evidence. Observe behavior, protect your boundaries, and make decisions through both intuition and reality. Spiritual maturity does not require abandoning reason. It allows reason and inner awareness to work together. Some dream warnings are not about physical danger at all. They concern the direction of the dreamer's character. A departed mother may appear when her child is becoming consumed by anger. A father may return when his family is dividing over inheritance. A grandparent may speak during a period when old values are being forgotten. The warning may not say, "Something bad will happen." It may say, "You are becoming someone you were never meant to become." This type of dream can feel deeply confronting because the departed person may represent the conscience the dreamer has been avoiding. Their presence reminds the listener of promises made, values inherited, and duties neglected. Perhaps you promised your dying parent that you would keep the family united, but resentment has slowly taken control. Perhaps a departed spouse always encouraged you to care for your health, yet grief has caused you to abandon yourself. Perhaps a teacher believed in your purpose, but fear has made you walk away from it. The dream brings their face before you because their memory still carries moral authority. A meaningful warning often directs attention toward Dharma, the responsibility and right action placed before you. It may remind you to speak honestly, protect someone vulnerable, end a harmful pattern, or stop sacrificing your integrity for temporary comfort. The message may feel supernatural, but its spiritual value lies in whether it leads toward truth and compassionate action. A warning that feeds hatred, revenge, arrogance, or cruelty should always be questioned. The face of a loved one can appear in a dream while carrying emotions created by your own fear or anger. Not everything spoken by a dream figure should be accepted as sacred simply because the figure resembles someone who died. Discernment asks several questions. Does the message align with compassion? Does it respect life? Does it encourage responsibility rather than panic? Does it bring clarity after careful reflection, or does it produce obsession and confusion? Does it ask you to examine reality, or demand that you reject all reason? Wisdom does not need terror to make itself heard. There are also dreams in which the departed appears not with a warning, but with a blessing. These dreams often occur before significant transitions, when the dreamer deeply wishes the person could be physically present. A daughter may dream of her deceased father shortly before marriage. A son may see his mother before becoming a parent. A student may dream of a departed teacher before beginning an important journey. The person may place a hand upon the dreamer's head, offer flowers, give a warm embrace, or simply smile with unmistakable approval. The dreamer awakens feeling that the absent person somehow witnessed the new chapter. Such experiences can be profoundly healing because major life events often make grief return with unexpected force. A joyful day can suddenly become painful when someone important is missing. The wedding is beautiful, but one chair is empty. A child is born, but the grandparent who longed to hold them is gone. A great achievement arrives, yet the person who first believed in you cannot be called. The dream may give the heart a symbolic way to include the departed in the transition. A father's blessing may represent the courage and guidance he gave throughout life. A mother holding a newborn may represent the continuation of her tenderness through another generation. A departed teacher smiling may represent the dreamer's realization that the teacher's work has reached fulfillment. The person may not be present physically, but their influence has helped create the moment. This is why a blessing dream often produces gratitude rather than desperate longing. The dream does not pull you away from the event. It allows you to enter it more fully. You awaken feeling that the departed person has not been excluded from your happiness because something of them is already living within the new chapter. The blessing may be expressed through an object. A departed person may give the dreamer a flower, ring, key, lamp, garment, fruit, book, or bowl of water. These symbols can feel sacred, yet their meaning should be understood through the personal relationship rather than through fixed interpretations. A lamp may symbolize guidance if the person often helped you through difficult decisions. A key may represent responsibility, permission, or the opening of a new stage. Water may represent emotional peace, purification, or care, especially if the departed once nurtured the dreamer. A book may symbolize knowledge or the continuation of teachings. The object matters because of what it awakens in your consciousness. Imagine a woman dreaming that her departed grandmother gives her a small oil lamp and tells her to protect its flame. The dream could be interpreted in many ways, but the most meaningful interpretation may lie in the grandmother's life. Perhaps she held the family together through patience and prayer. Perhaps she preserved traditions, offered wisdom, and created warmth within the home. The lamp may represent the qualities the granddaughter must now carry. The blessing is not merely, "May good things happen to you." It may be, "What I protected is now entrusted to you." This can transform a dream from a comforting memory into a spiritual responsibility. The departed person's blessing becomes an invitation to continue something valuable, whether it is compassion, courage, learning, family unity, service, or devotion. A true blessing does not make the dreamer passive. It awakens strength. Some departed people appear and say, "I am all right, I am at peace," or "Do not cry for me." These may be among the most emotionally powerful messages because grief often carries an unbearable concern about what happened to the person after death. The living may remember pain, fear, illness, or confusion from the final days and wonder whether the departed continues suffering. A peaceful dream can soften that fear. The person may look younger, healthier, or free from the condition that affected their body. Their face appears calm, and their presence creates an atmosphere unlike ordinary dreams. Whether the experience comes from the departed soul, the healing mind, or a mystery that cannot be divided into simple categories, the message may allow the dreamer to release the final image of suffering. The dream seems to say, "Do not remember me only through the body that weakened." This is especially important because grief can reduce an entire lifetime to the moment of death. Years of laughter, service, struggle, affection, and ordinary companionship are overshadowed by a hospital room or a final breath. The peaceful dream restores balance. It returns the person as they were before suffering became the final picture. The message is not necessarily proof of a particular afterlife realm. It is an invitation to remember the whole life. Some dreams deliver a final message connected to guilt. The departed person may say, "It was not your fault, you did enough," or "Stop blaming yourself." The dreamer may have carried responsibility for years, believing that a different decision could have prevented the death. Perhaps they were not present during the final moments. Perhaps treatment decisions were difficult. Perhaps an accident happened after an ordinary disagreement. The mind repeatedly returns to every detail, searching for a place where the ending could have been changed. The departed appears in the dream and offers release, yet the dreamer may resist the message. Guilt has been carried for so long that letting it go feels like betraying the person. Suffering has become a form of loyalty. The dreamer believes that peace would mean the relationship mattered less, but endless self-punishment does not honor the departed. If a mistake was made, let it create wisdom, responsibility, and changed behavior. If nothing could have been controlled, let compassion replace the illusion that you were responsible for every outcome. You cannot honor love by destroying the life that love once tried to protect. A final message of forgiveness may need to be heard many times before the heart believes it. The person may return in recurring dreams, repeating the same reassurance. The dream does not repeat because the message is unclear. It repeats because guilt has closed the door through which the message must enter. The listener may need to ask, "What would change if I accepted that I am allowed to continue living?" Perhaps you would sleep peacefully for the first time in years. Perhaps you would stop replaying the final day. Perhaps you would reconnect with family, care for your health, or allow joy to return. The message may not be asking you to forget. It may be asking you to stop treating pain as the only evidence that love was real. Some final messages concern the family. A departed parent may ask one child to care for another, resolve conflict, or protect something meaningful. Such dreams can create a powerful sense of duty, but they should be interpreted carefully. The dreamer must distinguish loving responsibility from unhealthy control. Suppose a departed mother appears and says, "Take care of your brother." This may awaken compassion and remind the dreamer of a family member who is struggling. The message can inspire support, communication, and kindness. But it does not require the dreamer to destroy their own life, tolerate abuse, or carry every responsibility another adult refuses to face. Dharma includes compassion, but compassion requires wisdom. The departed person's memory should not be used to manipulate someone into endless sacrifice. The dream may remind you to help, but the form of help must remain ethical, balanced, and realistic. Similarly, a dream about family property, money, or inheritance should not be treated as legal proof of the departed person's wishes. Dreams are personal experiences shaped by memory and desire. Disputes should be handled through evidence, law, fairness, and honest communication. The sacred should never become a weapon in worldly conflict. Some messages arrive in a language the dreamer does not fully understand. The departed may speak, but the words sound distant, unusual, or symbolic. They may repeat a name, number, location, or image that seems important. This can create an intense desire to decode everything, yet not every detail needs to become a prediction. The dream may be using symbols rather than literal instructions. A house may represent the family rather than a physical property. A road may represent a life decision. A storm may represent conflict. A child may represent vulnerability, innocence, or a new beginning. The dreamer should first examine the emotional meaning before searching for an external event. What did the symbol mean within your relationship with the departed? Did the location carry a shared memory? Was the object connected to something they valued? Did the dream awaken fear, comfort, urgency, or forgiveness? The personal connection often reveals more than a universal interpretation. Some dreamers become obsessed with understanding a final message perfectly because they fear that missing one detail will have terrible consequences. They replay the dream, consult countless interpretations, and begin seeing signs everywhere. The experience that initially brought wonder becomes a source of anxiety. This is the moment to step back. A meaningful spiritual message should not require endless fear. If the essential wisdom cannot be understood without obsession, perhaps the mind has begun adding pressure that was not present in the original dream. Return to the simplest meaning. Did the person ask you to be careful? Then live attentively. Did they ask you to forgive? Examine where resentment remains. Did they bless you? Receive the blessing through gratitude. Did they say they were peaceful? Allow the image to soften grief. Did they tell you to continue? Take one honest step toward life. The mind often complicates what the heart has already understood. There are dreams in which the departed appears during a crisis. Someone may be seriously ill, grieving another death, facing separation, or standing at the edge of emotional collapse. The departed arrives not with detailed instructions, but with a feeling of protection. The dreamer may wake with renewed strength as though the person reminded them that they had survived difficult seasons before. This experience may be especially powerful when the departed once helped the dreamer endure hardship. Their image becomes the form through which resilience returns. The message is not necessarily, "I will remove every difficulty." It may be, "You still carry the strength I helped awaken." This distinction is important. A blessing does not always promise an easy future. It may provide the courage to walk through a difficult one. The departed person may appear beside a road, open a gate, or guide you across a bridge. Such dreams often occur when the dreamer is moving between identities or life chapters. The guide may represent the values and wisdom that help the dreamer cross the transition. But sometimes the departed leads the dreamer toward darkness, a grave, or an unknown place, creating fear that the dream predicts death. Such an interpretation should not be accepted automatically. Dreams of being led away can reflect grief, depression, emotional exhaustion, or the fear of losing control. The dream may reveal that part of you wants to escape pain rather than continue facing it. This is especially serious when the dreamer feels attracted to following the departed or believes the dream instructed them to die. Such an experience is not a command to obey. It is a sign that support is needed. Speak with someone trustworthy, seek professional help, and protect your life immediately. No loving message should require self-destruction. The spiritual journey does not ask you to abandon the responsibilities, relationships, and opportunities still present in your earthly life. The departed may be remembered through the way you live, not through an attempt to join them before your own natural time. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that human birth carries purpose and responsibility. As long as life remains, there is dharma to perform, compassion to offer, and consciousness to develop. A frightening dream cannot cancel that sacred responsibility. Some final messages arrive not through speech, but through departure. The person appears, embraces you, then says they must go. They may board a train, cross water, walk into light, or close a door behind them. You may awaken devastated because the dream feels like losing them again. Yet this may be the message your heart needs most. The dream may be giving form to a goodbye that never occurred in waking life. Perhaps death arrived suddenly, leaving no final conversation. Perhaps the funeral happened while you were in shock. The body was gone, but part of your mind remained waiting for the person to return. The dream creates one final meeting and allows you to witness their departure consciously. You may beg them to stay, but they continue walking. They may look back with love, yet they do not return. The dream does not mean you have been abandoned. It may mean your consciousness is finally recognizing that the relationship must continue in another form. This kind of dream can bring sorrow and peace together. You awaken crying, but something inside you knows that the person's path is no longer yours to control. The final message may be carried through the act of leaving. Do not remain standing at the doorway. The departed person walks away so that you can turn back toward life. There are also dreams in which the person places the dreamer in the care of someone else. A deceased father may hold his daughter's hand and place it into the hand of a spouse. A departed mother may lead her child toward family members who remain alive. These images can symbolize trust and transfer of responsibility. The dream may be helping the heart accept support from the living. Grief sometimes creates the belief that no one can provide comfort because no one can replace the person who died. This is true in one sense. No relationship can be perfectly replaced, yet refusing every new connection can turn loyalty into isolation. The departed may appear in the dream not to return permanently, but to guide you toward those still able to walk beside you. The message becomes, let yourself be loved in the form that life can still offer. This does not erase the past. It allows the past to bless the future. Some dream blessings arrive after the dreamer performs an act of remembrance, prayer, service, or forgiveness. The departed may then appear peaceful, as though acknowledging that something has been completed. The dreamer may interpret this as proof that the act reached the soul. No one can confirm the hidden workings of such experiences with certainty, but the transformation within the living heart is real. Charity turns grief into service. Prayer turns helplessness into devotion. Forgiveness releases emotional poison. A compassionate action performed in memory of the departed allows their influence to continue creating goodness. Perhaps this is why the dream feels peaceful. The relationship is no longer centered only upon loss. It has become part of Dharma. When the departed person appears with gratitude, the dream may be reflecting the dreamer's recognition that love has found a meaningful form. The person's memory is not trapped in photographs and sorrow. It is feeding the hungry, supporting someone in need, healing family conflict, or inspiring spiritual growth. The dream's blessing may arise because memory has become active goodness. A final message may also contain no instruction, no warning, and no request. The departed may simply say your name. This can be more powerful than a long conversation because the way they spoke your name may carry an entire relationship. It contains the tenderness of childhood, the safety of home, the intimacy of partnership, or the loyalty of friendship. You awaken remembering not only the sound, but the feeling of being known. Perhaps that is the message. In grief, people can feel invisible. Their identity was partly shaped through the eyes of the person who died. A parent knew the child before the world demanded performance. A spouse knew private fears and dreams. A lifelong friend remembered every stage of the journey. When that person dies, the survivor may feel that no one remains who understands them in the same way. Then the departed speaks their name in a dream, and for one sacred moment, the dreamer feels recognized again. The encounter may be saying, "The love through which you were known has not become meaningless." The dream may restore a part of identity that grief made uncertain. Not every final message will be immediately understood. Some dreams reveal their meaning only after time passes. A sentence may seem strange until the dreamer faces a situation months later and suddenly remembers it. A symbolic gift may become meaningful when a responsibility is inherited. A blessing may provide strength during a difficulty that had not yet begun. Yet the dreamer should avoid reshaping every future event to fit the dream. Memory can change, and human beings naturally search for patterns. Write the dream down exactly as remembered, without adding details, then allow its meaning to unfold without forcing it. A genuine lesson does not need manipulation to become true. The greatest test remains the change the dream creates within you. Does the warning make you more attentive and responsible? Does the blessing help you act with courage? Does the final message release guilt or deepen compassion? Does the encounter return you to your Dharma? Does it teach you to value the living while they are still present? A dream that creates these qualities has already served a sacred purpose, even when its ultimate source remains unknown. Perhaps the departed soul came near. Perhaps your deeper consciousness used their image to awaken forgotten wisdom. Perhaps memory, intuition, grief, and spiritual mystery met in a place where ordinary categories could no longer remain separate. You do not need to claim certainty in order to receive what is valuable. When someone who has died appears in your dream and delivers a message, listen with your heart, examine it with your reason, and judge it through the life it asks you to create. Never follow fear blindly. Never use the dream to harm, accuse, or control. Never allow it to replace professional care or responsible judgment. Let the message become a lamp, not a chain. Perhaps the departed warned you because your own wisdom had been ignored. Perhaps they blessed you because you were afraid to begin without them. Perhaps they said goodbye because your grief had remained standing at the door. Perhaps they appeared only to tell you that the pain of their final days should no longer define the memory of their life. And perhaps the deepest final message is not spoken by the departed at all. Perhaps it becomes clear only after you awaken and realize that time is still moving, people are still beside you, and the love you keep postponing still has a chance to be expressed. The dream ends, the person disappears, mourning enters the room. But the message remains, not as proof that you must live in fear of another world, but as an invitation to become more awake in this one. Because the most sacred warning is to stop wasting the life you still possess. The most powerful blessing is the courage to continue, and the most beautiful final message from someone who has gone may be the silent permission to love, heal, and live again. Chapter 7. The moment you realize the dream was meant to release you. There is a moment in some dreams of the departed when the entire experience suddenly changes. The person you have been trying to reach no longer moves toward you. They stand quietly at a doorway, beside a river, beneath a tree, or at the beginning of a road that you cannot follow. Their face is peaceful, but something within you understands that this meeting is different from all the others. They did not return to remain. They came because your heart was finally ready to watch them leave. You may beg them to stay. You may try to hold their hand, ask another question, or follow them into the distance, but they gently step away. Perhaps they smile and say that they must go. Perhaps they embrace you one final time. Perhaps no words are spoken, yet the meaning enters your heart with a clarity that language could never create. Then you awaken. For a few moments the room feels unbearably empty. It may seem as though you have lost the person for a second time, but beneath the sadness there is often another feeling, something quieter and more difficult to explain. The dream has not left you only with grief, it has left you with permission. Permission to stop waiting. Permission to stop blaming yourself. Permission to continue living without believing that moving forward will erase the person you loved. Vedic-inspired wisdom teaches that attachment and love are not the same. Love can remain pure even when physical closeness ends, but attachment continues demanding that life return to the form it once had. Love remembers with gratitude. Attachment remembers with resistance. Love blesses the journey of another soul. Attachment tries to prevent the journey from changing. The final purpose of a departed soul's appearance in a dream may therefore not be to prove that they can return whenever you call. It may be to help you release the demand that they return at all. This realization can be painful because grief often survives by secretly expecting one more moment. Even when the mind understands that death is final, the heart continues imagining impossible reunions. You may still listen for their footsteps, think of calling their number, or turn toward the empty space where they once sat. Part of you knows they are gone, while another part remains emotionally prepared for their return. A dream allows that hidden expectation to take visible form. The person returns, and for a brief moment the impossible becomes real. You hear their voice, feel their presence, and experience the closeness you have been missing. But then the dream changes. They walk away, the door closes, the train departs, or the light carries them beyond your reach. The dream may be completing the goodbye that grief refused to accept. This does not mean you are forgetting the person. It means your consciousness is learning that memory and acceptance can exist together. You can love someone deeply while acknowledging that their physical chapter beside you has ended. You can carry them inside your heart without remaining emotionally frozen at the moment they died. The departed figure may appear peaceful because your heart needs to see that peace before it can stop searching. Their face may be free from illness, age, fear, or pain. They may look younger, healthier, or more radiant than they did during their final days. Whether this image comes through spiritual mystery, memory, or the healing intelligence of the deeper mind, it gives the listener something important, a new final image. Until that dream, perhaps the last picture inside your mind was a hospital room, an accident, a funeral, or a body that no longer responded. That painful image may have overshadowed every beautiful year that came before it. The dream returns the person as love remembers them, not as death left them. They may smile because the heart needs another ending. The physical ending could not be changed, but the emotional ending can become gentler. Perhaps this is why some dreams of the departed occur only once. The person appears, gives an embrace, offers a blessing, and leaves. The dream remains unforgettable, yet it is never repeated. The dreamer may spend years hoping for another visit, wondering why the person has not returned, but perhaps nothing more needed to be said. The dream may not have failed because it happened only once. It may have completed its purpose perfectly. The person came when grief had reached a certain threshold, when guilt was ready to loosen, or when the heart finally possessed enough strength to receive the encounter without becoming imprisoned by it. One meeting was enough to place a different memory beside the pain. The dream was not meant to begin a new dependence. It was meant to end an old wound. This is where the listener must become very honest. When you long for another dream, what are you truly seeking? Are you seeking comfort, proof, forgiveness, direction, or escape from the life that remains? Do you want to see the departed because love has become peaceful, or because waking reality feels impossible without them? There is no shame in longing. Grief naturally seeks closeness, but longing becomes dangerous when it begins replacing life. A person may sleep longer, withdraw from family, avoid new relationships, or lose interest in responsibilities because dreams feel like the only place where love still exists. The soul's midnight visit should not turn night into your only home. A meaningful dream should eventually help you return to the morning. The person you loved may have appeared not to invite you into their world, but to guide you back into yours. They may have come to remind you that your breath continues, your duties remain, and other people still need the love you are capable of giving. Their physical journey beside you has ended, but your earthly life has not. No loving presence would ask you to destroy what remains merely to prove devotion to what has gone. This truth becomes especially important when the departed person says, "Do not cry, let me go, you must continue," or "Take care of yourself." Such words may feel impossible to obey, because grief is not a switch that can be turned off through one message. You may awaken understanding the words, but still experience sorrow every day. The dream is not necessarily demanding that you stop feeling pain immediately. It may be offering a direction rather than an instant transformation. Continue does not mean never cry again. Release does not mean stop remembering. Heal does not mean the relationship no longer matters. The message may simply mean that grief must slowly learn to walk beside life instead of standing in front of it. There is a stage of grief in which pain becomes part of identity. You are no longer only a parent, spouse, child, sibling, or friend. You become the person who lost someone. Every conversation, decision, and future possibility passes through that loss. You may fear that letting go of suffering will also remove your connection to the departed. Pain begins to feel like the last thread between two souls. But suffering is not the only thread love can use. Love can remain through gratitude. It can remain through the values you carry forward. It can remain through stories, traditions, acts of service, and the way you care for people because the departed once cared for you. The bond does not need endless pain in order to survive. The dream may appear precisely when your soul is ready to exchange one form of connection for another. The departed person no longer needs to be remembered only through the moment of loss. They can be remembered through the life they lived and the qualities they awakened. Perhaps your mother taught tenderness. Let her memory live through the way you comfort someone. Perhaps your father taught responsibility. Let his presence continue through the promises you keep. Perhaps a spouse taught loyalty, courage, humor, or patience. Carry those qualities into the life that remains. Perhaps a child awakened a depth of love you never knew your heart could contain. Allow that love to become compassion for other vulnerable lives. The departed person's deepest continuation may not be another dream. It may be the person you become because they once existed. This is why a final dream can feel both heartbreaking and sacred. The person may turn away because the relationship no longer needs to remain suspended between memory and denial. They are not rejecting you. They may be releasing you from the belief that loving them requires remaining exactly where they left you. Imagine a dream in which your departed mother stands beside the door of your childhood home. You rush toward her, but she does not enter. She smiles and gently closes the door. At first, you may interpret this as abandonment, yet the deeper meaning may be very different. Perhaps childhood has ended. Perhaps the protection you once received must now become strength within you. Perhaps you have spent years waiting for someone else to make you feel safe, while the dream is showing that the time has come to carry her courage forward. The closed door is not always punishment. Sometimes it marks completion. A departed father may hand you a key and then disappear, not because he is leaving you without guidance, but because responsibility now belongs in your hands. A spouse may place your hand into the hand of another family member, not because the old love has been replaced, but because life is offering support in another form. A friend may wave from across a river, reminding you that some distances cannot be crossed by longing, yet gratitude can still travel between them. Dream symbols often speak through transition. Doors open and close, roads separate, boats leave the shore, trains depart, bridges are crossed, lights grow brighter. These images may reflect the heart's movement from one stage of grief into another. The dreamer is not being asked to deny love. They are being asked to stop demanding that love remain physically unchanged. Vedic-inspired thought repeatedly teaches that change is woven into the material world. Everything that takes form eventually changes form. Bodies grow, age, weaken, and return to nature. Families transform. Homes are left behind. Roles end. Relationships continue through memory, but no longer through the same physical arrangement. Suffering becomes deeper when consciousness demands permanence from what was always temporary. This does not mean human bonds are meaningless. Their impermanence is exactly what makes them sacred. A conversation matters because it cannot be repeated forever. An embrace matters because one day the hands will be gone. The ordinary presence of another person becomes precious because time never promises how long it will remain. The dream of departure may be teaching you to understand this truth while people are still beside you. Perhaps the departed appears so that you will stop postponing love with the living. Perhaps their silence reminds you to speak what matters now. Perhaps their final embrace asks you to hold those who are still able to hold you back. Perhaps their disappearance reveals that every relationship must be honored before it becomes memory. The dream is not only about death, it is a warning against unconscious life. The departed person may have returned to awaken you from the belief that there will always be another day, another conversation, and another opportunity to repair what pride has damaged. When you awaken, look at the people still present. Do not wait until they become dreams. The final dream may also release guilt. Perhaps you were not beside the person when they died. You may have arrived too late, missed the final call, or made a decision you now question. The mind keeps creating another version of the last day, one in which you act differently and save the person from an ending that may never have been within your control. Then the departed appears in a dream and says, "You did enough," or embraces you without mentioning the past. The message can feel simple, yet accepting it may be one of the hardest tasks of your life. Guilt creates the illusion that suffering can change history. It tells you that if you punish yourself long enough, the love will become pure, or the mistake will somehow be repaired. But the past does not require your destruction. It requires your understanding. If a real mistake was made, transform it into responsibility. Become more attentive. Apologize more quickly. Care for others more consciously. Do not repeat what regret has taught you. But if you acted with the knowledge available at the time, allow compassion to enter. You were human. You could not see the future. You did not know which ordinary moment would become the last. A dream of forgiveness may be inviting you to stop judging your past self with knowledge gained only after the loss. This is not an excuse. It is mercy joined with wisdom. Sometimes the dreamer refuses to accept forgiveness because pain has become a tribute. They believe that if they become peaceful, the departed will be forgotten. Yet the person you loved was more than the cause of your grief. They were a life, a voice, a history, a collection of ordinary moments, flaws, sacrifices, and hopes. To remember them only through suffering is to remember only their absence. The dream may be asking you to remember their presence again. What made them laugh? What did they value? What kindness did they offer? What lesson did they repeat? What part of their life deserves to continue through yours? When memory becomes larger than the death, grief begins changing form. The person may still be missed, but the heart is no longer trapped only inside the final scene. There are dreams in which the departed asks the dreamer to stop visiting the grave so frequently, stop keeping the room untouched, or release certain belongings. Such experiences should not be treated as absolute commands, but they may reveal that mourning has become frozen. Objects can provide comfort, yet they can also become symbols of refusal. A room may remain exactly as it was for years because changing it feels like declaring that the person will never return. Clothes remain untouched, a phone number remains active, and daily routines continue around an absence no one is allowed to acknowledge. There is no universal timetable for changing these things. Grief cannot be rushed. Yet there may come a moment when preservation stops honoring memory and begins preventing life. The dream may mark that moment. Releasing belongings does not release love. Giving away clothing does not remove the person from your heart. Changing a room does not erase history. Objects carried the person's presence for a time, but the relationship was always larger than the objects. The deepest memories do not live inside furniture. They live in consciousness. A departed spouse may appear as the surviving partner begins considering love again. The dream can create guilt, especially if the person appears serious or distant. The dreamer may believe they are being judged for moving forward, but before interpreting the dream as disapproval, ask whether the judgment is coming from the departed figure or from your own fear. You may be the one who believes new love would betray the old bond. The dream may be revealing this conflict rather than commanding you to remain alone. Love is not honored by lifelong emotional punishment. No new relationship can replace the person who died because every bond is unique. Yet the heart can hold gratitude for one chapter while opening carefully to another. Continuing to live does not rewrite the past. It allows the life that remains to receive meaning. Perhaps the departed appears because the heart is asking for permission. Perhaps they smile because the answer is yes. Perhaps they walk away because they are not meant to stand between you and the future. The dream may say, without words, what we shared was real, and because it was real, it does not need to prevent everything that comes next. This is love without possession. There are also dreams in which the departed appears during the dreamer's greatest happiness. They may arrive at a wedding, the birth of a child, an achievement, or a family celebration. Their appearance may initially bring sadness, but it can also reveal that joy has not separated you from them. The person's influence is already present in the moment. A mother who taught her daughter how to love may be present in the tenderness that daughter now offers her own child. A father who worked for his family may be present in the security his sacrifices helped create. A teacher may be present in every student taught by the person they inspired. The departed may not need to physically witness the new chapter in order to be part of what made it possible. The dream helps the heart recognize this continuity. Their chapter ended, but their influence entered yours. When this understanding becomes stable, the need for repeated dreams may decrease. At first, the silence can feel frightening. You may wonder why the departed has stopped visiting. You may believe the bond is weakening or that you did something wrong. But perhaps the dreams have become quiet because the heart no longer needs the same form of reassurance. The person once had to appear before you could feel close to them. Now their memory has become part of your ordinary consciousness. You think of them without collapsing. You speak their name with both sadness and gratitude. You can enter familiar places without feeling that life has ended. The dream stops because healing has begun to speak during the day. This is not abandonment, it is integration. The departed no longer exists only as an image appearing at midnight. Their values now move through your choices. Their stories live within family memory. The love remains accessible without requiring sleep to open the doorway. Some people fear that healing will eventually erase details. The voice becomes harder to hear in memory. The exact face may soften with time. Certain conversations disappear. This can create panic because forgetting small details feels like losing the person again. But human memory naturally changes. The fading of one detail does not destroy the relationship's meaning. You may forget the exact words someone spoke while still carrying the courage those words created. You may forget the sound of a laugh while remembering the happiness it awakened. Love is not measured by perfect memory. The soul's midnight visit may help preserve one final vivid image, but even that image is not the whole bond. The relationship has already shaped your character, your emotional world, and the way you understand love. What entered consciousness cannot be reduced to a photograph. The final release also requires surrendering the need to know exactly what the dream was. Perhaps you will never receive proof that the departed soul visited. Perhaps no philosophy can explain why the dream felt so real, why it arrived at that exact moment, or why one sentence changed years of grief. You may spend countless hours trying to choose between a spiritual visit and a psychological experience, but perhaps the deeper wisdom does not depend upon certainty. The dream happened within your experience. The emotion was real. The healing may be real. The lesson can still be lived. You do not need to declare that every dream is supernatural in order to honor its sacred effect. You also do not need to dismiss the mystery simply because it cannot be measured. Humility allows both wonder and discernment. You can say, "I do not know exactly what happened, but the dream helped me release something I could no longer carry." That may be enough. The Vedic seeker is not asked to build a prison out of interpretation. Spiritual wisdom should increase awareness, compassion, and freedom. When a dream becomes an obsession, when every night is spent begging for another visit, or when every daily event is treated as a secret message, the experience has begun moving away from liberation. The departed should not become another attachment through which fear controls your life. A dream can be sacred without becoming an authority over every decision. Let it guide reflection, not replace reason. Let it awaken love, not create dependence. Let it inspire prayer, service, gratitude, or forgiveness, but do not surrender your responsibility for the life still in your hands. The final chapter of the soul's midnight visit is therefore not about learning how to make the departed return. It is about understanding what must change when they do not. Can you continue without receiving another message? Can you trust the love that already existed? Can you stop demanding proof? Can you carry memory without refusing the present? Can you release guilt without denying responsibility? Can you let grief become softer without believing the relationship mattered less? These questions reveal whether the dream has become a doorway or a chain. Perhaps the departed person appears one final time and places a hand upon your heart. They do not speak. Their eyes carry the same tenderness you remember from life. For a moment, you want to ask everything: where they are, whether they hear your prayers, whether you will meet again, and whether they know how much you still miss them. But the questions become quiet. You realize that their presence has already answered the one question beneath all others. The love was real. The relationship existed. The life you shared cannot be taken back by death. Nothing more is required for the past to have meaning. The person steps away. You feel sorrow, but you do not chase them. You watch as they move toward a distant light, cross a bridge, or disappear beyond a doorway. They turn once, perhaps smiling, and then they are gone. This time, the dream does not end with you screaming their name. It ends with gratitude. You awaken with tears, but the tears are different. They do not carry only desperation. They carry the painful beauty of acceptance. The room is empty, yet you no longer feel that love has vanished from existence. You understand that love has changed its language. Once, it spoke through a physical voice. Now it speaks through memory. Once, it offered comfort through hands. Now it offers strength through the qualities those hands awakened. Once, it lived in shared routines. Now it lives in the meaning those routines created. The body is absent, but the inner transformation remains. This may be the final purpose of the soul's midnight visit. The departed does not appear merely to prove that death cannot separate two people. They may appear to teach that love must become strong enough to survive separation without demanding physical return. The dream releases you from the doorway. You no longer spend every day looking backward, waiting for the past to reopen. You turn toward the people still beside you, the responsibilities still calling you, and the life still capable of receiving your love. The departed becomes part of your journey without becoming the end of it. You begin living in a way that honors them more deeply than endless sorrow ever could. You forgive more quickly because you know time is uncertain. You listen with greater attention because voices do not remain forever. You express affection before pride delays it. You stop assuming that ordinary moments are unimportant. The dream makes you more awake. That is its final gift. Perhaps one day, long after the dreams have stopped, you will sit quietly beneath the evening sky and remember the person without asking them to appear. You will feel the familiar ache, but it will no longer consume you. You will speak their name with tenderness, offer gratitude for the time you shared, and continue with the day. At that moment, you will realize that the soul's midnight visit never asked you to remain inside the night. It came to lead you toward morning. The departed person did not walk away because love had ended. They walked away because love had finally become strong enough to release you. And perhaps that is the deepest meaning hidden within the dream. The soul did not return to take you away from life, but to place you gently back inside it, carrying less guilt, less fear, and a love that no longer needs another visit in order to know that it was real. We have now reached the end of the soul's midnight visit, yet perhaps the deepest part of this audiobook will not begin until tonight, when the world grows quiet, your eyes close, and the mind releases its grip upon the visible world. Perhaps someone you loved will appear again. They may stand inside a familiar home, walk toward you beneath a strange golden light, speak one sentence you will remember for years, or remain completely silent while your heart understands everything that words failed to express during life. For a few precious moments, the distance created by death may seem to disappear, and you may feel as though the person you lost has returned through a doorway that opens only when the waking mind becomes still. Then morning will arrive. Your eyes will open, the room will be empty, and the person will no longer be standing before you. Yet the dream may remain so vivid that you continue feeling their presence long after the image has faded. You may wonder whether it was only memory, whether your grief created the encounter, or whether the departed soul truly came near for one mysterious moment. Perhaps no human being can answer that question with complete certainty. Vedic-inspired wisdom does not ask us to pretend that every dream is a supernatural message, nor does it demand that we dismiss every unexplained experience as meaningless. It invites us to remain humble before the mystery of consciousness, to observe the dream carefully, and to judge its value by what it awakens within the heart. Did the dream bring peace where guilt had lived? Did it remind you of love that death could not erase? Did it expose an unfinished wound that still requires forgiveness? Did it warn you to stop ignoring the truth of your present life? Did it give you permission to continue without feeling that healing would betray the person who died? The deepest message may not be hidden in whether the departed truly crossed a boundary to reach you. It may be hidden in what changed inside you after they disappeared. A meaningful dream should not make you more imprisoned by death. It should make you more awake to life. It should remind you that the people still sitting beside you will not remain forever. Their voices will one day become memories. Their familiar habits will disappear from ordinary days, and the moments you keep postponing may eventually become the moments you would give anything to recover. Do not wait until someone appears in your dreams to tell them what they mean to you. Speak while their ears can still hear your voice. Apologize while their heart can still respond. Visit while their door can still open. Sit beside them without constantly allowing distraction to steal the small moments that will one day become sacred memories. The departed person may have appeared in your dream because love remained unfinished, but you still possess the power to prevent unfinished love from growing inside the relationships that remain. Make the call. End the unnecessary silence. Ask the question pride has delayed. Say thank you for the sacrifices you once treated as ordinary. Tell your parents what their presence means before the family home becomes quiet. Listen to your children before their childhood disappears. Appreciate your spouse before shared routines become the memories you miss most. Forgive where forgiveness protects peace, and create wise boundaries where love has been confused with endless suffering. The soul's midnight visit may be one of death's most beautiful reminders that life should never be lived as though time were unlimited. Throughout this audiobook, we explored why a departed person may appear when the mind becomes silent, why some dreams feel like memories while others feel like meetings, why certain souls speak while others remain silent, and why unfinished love, guilt, forgiveness, repeated dreams, warnings, and blessings may all rise through the mysterious language of sleep. Yet every chapter has led us toward one final truth. The dream does not belong only to the departed. It belongs to the living heart that must decide what to do after waking. You may choose to spend your days searching desperately for another visit, interpreting every coincidence as a sign and every silence as abandonment. Or you may receive the dream as a sacred moment, carry its wisdom gently, and return to your life with greater awareness. The departed should not become another chain around your consciousness. Love does not need obsession to prove that it was real. You do not need another dream every night to know that the relationship mattered. The years you shared, the ways you changed one another, the tenderness you received, the pain you survived, and the lessons that remain within you already testify that the bond existed. The person may never appear again, but what they awakened can continue. A mother's compassion may live through the way you comfort someone who feels alone. A father's courage may appear when you choose integrity during a difficult moment. A grandparent's wisdom may survive through the traditions you preserve. A spouse's devotion may continue through the kindness you offer to the family you once built together. A departed child's innocence may awaken compassion for other children who need protection and love. This is how a life continues influencing the world after the body is gone, not only through dreams, photographs, or stories, but through the qualities carried forward by those who remain. Perhaps the most sacred response to a dream of the departed is not asking how to make them return. It is asking how their life can continue producing goodness through yours. Perform an act of kindness in their memory. Offer food, support someone in need, reconcile where reconciliation is wise, or continue a meaningful work they could not finish. Let memory become service. Let sorrow become compassion. Let the love that once moved between two people become light for someone who never knew the person you lost. Then the departed is not remembered only through absence. Their influence becomes active within the world. When a dream carries guilt, remember that regret should become wisdom rather than endless punishment. You cannot return to the final day and change what happened. You cannot answer the missed call, speak the delayed apology, or take back the words said in anger. But you can allow the pain to transform the way you live now. You can become more attentive. You can apologize sooner. You can stop treating tomorrow like a guarantee. You can honor the lesson without destroying yourself in its name. The person you loved would not be honored by watching your remaining life collapse beneath the weight of one mistake. Love is greater than one missed moment, one imperfect decision, or one conversation that ended badly. A real relationship was formed through countless days, sacrifices, gestures, disagreements, recoveries, and ordinary moments that guilt often forgets to count. Do not reduce an entire bond to the final event. Remember the whole life. Remember the laughter that came before the silence, the hands that worked quietly, the meals shared, the journeys taken, the difficult seasons survived, and the ways love appeared even when human beings struggled to express it perfectly. Perhaps the dream returned the person to you because your mind had begun remembering only their death. Their peaceful face may have come to restore the memory of their life. If the departed appeared asking for forgiveness, you are not required to deny the pain they caused. Death does not erase truth, and spirituality does not demand dishonesty. You may acknowledge the wound while deciding that it will no longer control your future. Forgiveness is not approval. It does not mean that every harmful act becomes acceptable, and it does not require you to pretend that the relationship was beautiful when it was not. Forgiveness may simply mean releasing the expectation that the past will become different. The person may never give the apology you deserved in waking life. The dream may provide symbolic recognition, or it may remain silent. In either case, your freedom does not have to remain dependent upon someone who can no longer change what happened. You can say within your own heart, "I will not carry this darkness forever." You can reclaim the life that pain once controlled. When the dream brings a warning, receive it carefully rather than fearfully. Examine your life, your choices, your health, your relationships, and the concerns you have been ignoring. Seek evidence, guidance, and professional help where needed. A dream may awaken intuition, but it should never become the only authority over a serious decision. True spiritual wisdom does not ask you to abandon reason. It asks you to become more conscious. When the dream brings a blessing, receive it with gratitude. Perhaps the departed person appeared before your wedding, the birth of a child, an important journey, or a new beginning because their physical absence had become especially painful at that moment. Their blessing may reveal that they are already part of the chapter through everything they taught you. They helped shape the person who now stands at the new doorway. Their hands may not be present, but their sacrifices helped bring you there. Their voice may be silent, but their values continue guiding the choice. Their body may be gone, but the love they gave has entered the way you love others. You did not begin the next chapter without them entirely. You entered it carrying what they left inside you. And when the departed finally walks away in the dream, do not assume that they are rejecting or abandoning you. Perhaps they are showing you that the meeting has fulfilled its purpose. They may cross a bridge because grief must change form. They may close a door because one chapter has reached completion. They may board a train because the heart must accept that two journeys no longer move through the same visible world. They may disappear into light because you are finally strong enough to remember them without demanding their return. The deepest soul visit may be the one that ends, not because love has become weaker, but because love no longer needs the dream to survive. One day, perhaps sooner than you expect, you may notice that the departed has stopped appearing. At first, you may feel abandoned. You may wonder whether they have moved far away or whether the connection has been lost. But look carefully at your life. Perhaps their kindness is now moving through your actions. Perhaps their courage appears when you face difficulty. Perhaps their voice has become part of your conscience. Perhaps you can speak their name without collapsing. Perhaps the dream has become quiet because the lesson has entered your waking life. The person no longer needs to visit at midnight because their influence is already present in the morning. This is not forgetting, it is integration. Healing does not remove the departed from your heart. It gives them a peaceful place within it. There may always be days when the grief returns unexpectedly. A song may bring tears. A familiar scent may open an old room inside the mind. A celebration may make the empty chair visible again. Healing does not mean that such moments disappear forever. It means they no longer destroy your ability to live. You can miss someone and still smile. You can remember them and still love the people who are present. You can grieve the past while building a meaningful future. You can carry an old love without closing the heart to every new form of connection. The departed person's place is not threatened by your healing. No one can replace a unique relationship, but life can still offer companionship, purpose, service, laughter, and love in forms that do not erase what came before. Perhaps the final message of the soul's midnight visit is not about the hidden world of the dead. Perhaps it is about the unfinished life of the living. You are still here. Your breath continues. Your voice can still express what matters. Your hands can still serve. Your heart can still forgive, learn, and love. Do not spend all your remaining days facing the doorway through which someone else departed. Turn gently toward the road still open before you. Carry their memory, but do not make memory your prison. Carry their love, but release the belief that love requires endless suffering. Carry their lessons, but continue developing your own soul. One day, you too will become a memory in the lives of others. Your voice may appear in someone's dream. Your face may return during a difficult night. Someone may awaken wishing they had spoken one more sentence or held you one more time. Live now in a way that leaves them more love than regret. Let your presence become something they can remember with peace. Speak honestly, give affection without embarrassment, admit mistakes, protect relationships from unnecessary pride, perform your dharma with sincerity, and stop waiting for a perfect future before becoming fully present. The dream of the departed reminds us that every ordinary meeting may one day become extraordinary in memory. The cup of tea, the familiar greeting, the shared meal, the quiet ride home, the simple question asking whether someone is all right. These moments appear small only because we believe they will continue forever, but nothing in the physical world continues forever. This is not a reason to fear life, it is a reason to enter it completely. So when you dream of someone who has passed away, do not rush to force a meaning upon the experience. Sit quietly after waking. Remember their face, their words, their silence, and the feeling they left within you. Then ask one final question. What is this dream asking me to become? More forgiving? More courageous? More attentive? More grateful? More willing to release what cannot return? The answer may contain the real message. Perhaps the departed came only through memory. Perhaps your deeper consciousness created the exact meeting required for healing. Perhaps the soul crossed a mysterious distance that human understanding cannot yet explain. You may never know with certainty, but perhaps certainty is not the greatest gift the dream can offer. Perhaps peace is greater. Perhaps forgiveness is greater. Perhaps the courage to continue is greater. When tonight arrives and darkness fills the room, the departed person may appear again, or the night may remain completely silent. In either case, love has not failed. A dream is not the only place where connection survives. It survives in every lesson remembered, every wound healed, every tradition continued, and every act of compassion inspired by the life that has ended. And when someone you loved stands before you one final time, perhaps they will not ask you to follow. Perhaps they will smile, place a blessing upon your heart, and gently turn toward the road that belongs to them. This time, you will not chase. You will not beg the dream to remain. You will simply whisper, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for loving me. I will carry the light you left behind, and I will continue living." Then the dream will fade, morning will enter the room, and you will understand the golden truth hidden within the soul's midnight visit. The departed did not return to pull you into the past. They returned so that love could release you into the future.